Serving Colorado accident victims for almost 50 years. If you've been seriously injured in a truck or car wreck, you want Willhight to handle your case fast. We've been voted by you as the best personal injury law firm for the last 3 years in a row. Coloradans know who to call for fast results and maximum settlements. Truck or car wreck? Win big with Willhight. Injured by a drunk driver? Win big with Willhight. Just call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit willhightwins.com and chat with us 24/7. That's 303-GOOD-LAW or willhightwins.com.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Sports allow us to play, learn, and grow. But there's something more important than victory. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we believe every athlete deserves to be safe. Safe from abuse and misconduct on and off the field. We equip athletes, parents, coaches, and others with the right education to recognize, prevent, and respond to harmful behavior. Join the movement to champion respect and end abuse at uscenterforsafesport.org.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies with national LTE coverage. Go to rapidradios.com and you'll get up to 60% off free UPS shipping. Add code RADIO for an additional 5% off.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You are listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Job shaving.
You played in the NFL, but you were a wide receiver.
Embellishments.
I mean, sometimes I swear you're just making things up.
And amateur zoology.
I think polar bears are bigger than grizzlies.
Of course.
So make them a polar bear.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Stopping at the red light, girl, 'cause I wanna get you sick now. You're going at the red light, girl.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill.
No, it is not. This is not a drill. The Nuggets are moving, and they are shaking. Brandon Stokely, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. Well done there with this is not a drill. Yeah, how about that, man? I thought it was like a fake tweet because you sent it along with like 70 other texts yesterday.
It's a big text afternoon.
For Richie. Yes, it was. I just finally stopped looking. I couldn't even follow it anymore. So, but I thought it was a fake one, so I had to go double check. That's what I do.
Yeah,
I'm the grown up. I'm the grown up in the text chain there, so I'm like, let me just go double check on this thing and make sure.
It's not scam Saranya.
Yes.
You know?
A big deal. Exactly. So I did. I'm like, holy cow. They actually finally did it. They did it. Oh, and I'm just fired up. You know, I wanted a move to be made last year. They didn't shake it up last year. And now I didn't think they were going to do it. I really didn't. You know, you got a new coach. You got these two, I don't know what we call them, general manager, salary cap guys.
Co-executive vice presidents.
Yeah, those guys. I didn't, you know, they just got here. I mean, not just got here, but they just got their job title. One guy just got here. The other guy just got promoted. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think there was going to be any big moves. And there you go, man. I absolutely love it. I love the move. Shake this thing up a little bit. I think you're going to get a better complement to Jokic. That's the big thing. You got to find a complement to Jokic. Like, who works what? Michael Porter, it just ran its course.
Yeah.
It ran its course. That party was over. It wasn't going to work anymore. So, man, I love it. I love this guy, Cam Johnson, and I think it's going to be a great fit.
Yeah, if
Kid's got balls, man.
If you were sleeping under a rock for the last 12 to 15 hours or so and somehow missed it, the Denver Nuggets kicked off their NBA free agency by shipping out Michael Porter Jr., a legitimate member of the core four in their championship core, to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. They had to attach a 2032 first-round pick because we're just going to see how far out we can kick these things. Their 2032 first-round pick had barely even become available for them to reach on the cupboard, and they threw it out there to Brooklyn. They weren't even able to trade their 2031 one. NBA trades make my head just it gives me a headache with how far out you got to do
7 years?
7 years.
That's the like most, right?
A 2032, think about this for a second. So a 2032 first-round pick is like an 11-year-old kid this morning. Like, we are trading people who at this point are like pre-puberty.
Yeah.
But they do it, they get it done, and it signals a significant shift in the tone, I think, from what we were all thinking when Josh Kroenke, KSE vice chairman, sat up there with his two co-executive vice presidents of blah, 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 and kind of made it seem like it was going to be more of the same. We're going to run this thing back. We're going to try it again. We promote from within. This is our core. And, they didn't have any draft picks, so we knew they weren't going to be in the draft. And then free agency comes around just a little bit later, and bam, they're like one of the first big ones after 4 p.m. when things got going.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. I really do. And so much for the people that were saying, in the report that, Josh Kroenke's not going to trade Michael Porter Jr. because he went to Missouri.
Mizzou.
Remember that report at the end of the year or whenever it came out last year, which is absolutely ridiculous. How does that look now? But, man, I'm fired up. I really am. We'll see what else is to be they're going to do anything else. I mean, they freed up more money.
They did.
Also.
To a significant degree.
Yes. And they can do some other things. If you look at like a buyout for Saric, that frees up even more money. So it's like, wow, okay. You brought in Brucey B coming off the bench. And now you can continue to add to the bench, which, man, I mean, that was one of the biggest Achilles heels there last year, and the biggest issues they had last year was the bench. And so now you can look to add to that. So, man, I just think it was such a great move. Gives them financial flexibility moving forward, but also I think gives them a better piece, a better option for Jokic, especially offensively, getting his own shot. Like they shoot similar from the three-point range, but I think it gives them more options of getting to the rim, being more aggressive, playing that style of basketball.
I think you put it perfectly when you said that the Michael Porter Jr. experience, the ship had kind of run its course, I think is how you said it. And I think that's a perfect way to describe it because, listen, this was a guy, Michael Porter Jr., coming out of Mizzou who was, from a talent perspective, a lottery pick. He was genuinely perceived as a top 10 draft pick, high-end upside guy, but he just struggled with injuries in his single year at Mizzou, and it never kind of materialized. And Tim Connolly saw a vision, saw the potential there, moves into the draft to get him, and it was a legitimate gamble in a sense of like this could be like a lot of NBA draft picks, somebody that just washes away, and everything would have pointed toward that making sense if it happened. And they took the long route. They trusted the process. He had to go through, it was the hip stuff, it was the back stuff.
My back!
He had drop foot issues that he was dealing with to the point where we're all like WebMDing and Googling what that means and what it looks like. And
he's played a lot of games for the Nuggets over the last 3 years. And he's done a good job of being available.
That is kind of where I was going with it, is I want to make sure that we acknowledge, because listen, we all were frustrated with the MPJ experience at times. He has the high-end flash potential of when his shot has fallen, he's one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA, shot 40% roughly from three last season and averaged that over the course of his career. But we just never saw it enough. It's similar to what we say about Jamal Murray. But this was a guy that overcame a lot and got rid of the health and the durability issues, played a lot of games over the last 3 seasons, and was a legitimate part of them accomplishing their first title in franchise history. But it had run its course, and the inflexibility that the likes of Calvin Booth and others in the front office had created for the Nuggets meant that somebody was going to have to go, and this was a big one. To move off of his $38 million that he was going to be due and bringing in a guy like Cam Johnson, who's only going to be due about $21 million, and open up taxpayer exemptions and things like that. This was a breath of fresh air. And frankly, did it not make you, when you were looking at this, it was barely after 4 o'clock and the Nuggets are wheeling and dealing and slinging picks around and bringing in guys, bringing back Bruce, all things that under the previous regime we kind of thought were impossible, right? It was like Calvin Booth was like, well, we can't do anything, right? And we're listening to the audio. The Phoenix Suns are putting out audio of Calvin Booth bidding against himself on draft day to draft.
He's an idiot and a fool.
Yeah, to trade up and draft Deron Holmes. So, what a stark difference it was in terms of last offseason, how we felt compared to this offseason.
Refreshing.
Right?
Very, very refreshing. We got a different perspective here, and I really like the start yesterday. It has me excited. Now, we can't act like everything with Michael Porter Jr. was terrible and bad. I mean,
no.
To your point, he helped bring a championship here, and he was a big part of that. So it just ran its course, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's okay to say that. Two things can be true, as someone else on these airwaves likes to say a lot. Yeah. Do we have any other Zach By laughs real quick? There. I love that one. The two things can be true, as Zach By chucklingly says at times. And this is going to represent what we were worried the Nuggets no longer felt, and that was flexibility and the willingness to actually go all in and do what it takes to maximize Jokic's core, including the second move that they made after trading Michael Porter Jr., and that was bringing back Cowboy Brucey B. Bruce Brown. So can Bruce Brown be who he was to the 2023 title team? And if so, what would that look like? We'll go there next.
He's back. After 2 seasons away, Bruce Brown is returning to the Mile High City. Will Cowboy Bruce bring the same swagger, toughness, and clutch shooting that helped the Nuggets win their first ever title? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
What is happening, fellas? Guess what? This Saturday, you got to go swing by Embers Golf between 10 and 4 and get ready for their biggest summer blowout yet, because on July 5th, it's their sizzling lot sale. Score deals on all in-stock apparel. I'm talking about shoes, bags, balls, and sunglasses. And don't miss exclusive promos on last season's clubs. They're cleaning them out so you can level up your game for less. That's July 5th from 10 to 4 only at Embers Golf. Don't miss it. I had such a great experience over there with Trevor and Tate. They hooked me up. Got a full fitting of golf clubs for this year's season. I'm talking about driver, 3-wood, all my irons. I am loving my golf game right now. And what separates Embers Golf from all these other golf fitting stores, it's a small family-owned boutique-style golf shop in Westminster and has everything that you need from all the major to the smaller brands. BXG, Callaway, TaylorMade, G4, Titleist, whatever you need, they got you taken care of, and they even have 2 hitting bays. So make sure you stop by Embers Golf for all your custom golf fitting needs. And don't forget, this Saturday between 10 and 4, their sizzling lot sale is going down. Go check it out, only at Embers Golf.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Listen up, Broncos country. Philip Lindsay here. For a stress-free summer travel, I chose Hermes Worldwide. Forget the airport chaos. Hermes Worldwide offers comfortable, reliable transportation services to the airport and more. They're dependable and professional, so you can focus on what really matters the most, enjoying that vacation. Make your summer travel easy. Call 303-577-7600 or visit ridehermes.com/Denver Sports. Again, you can give them a call at 303-577-7600 to book your next ride.
Peanut butter and jelly, music and dancing, salt and pepper. At Excel Energy, we believe some things just work better together. Like a heat pump, the 2-in-1 unit that can both cool and heat your home. And better yet, it does so using energy more efficiently than a traditional HVAC system. Better yet, you can also save money on a heat pump with rebates at excelenergy.com/heat pumps. Cooling, heating, and savings. That's a lot to get pumped about. All in one package.
Are you in a high-risk fire zone? Got woodpecker holes? Siding starting to rot? What's up, guys? It's Zach here. 5280 Exteriors is your go-to for James Hardy Siding, a low-maintenance, cement-based siding that resists flames, repels insects, and yes, even woodpeckers. For the month of July, get free installation with the purchase of a whole house of siding. 5280 won't just replace siding. They upgrade your home. Old siding off, new bat insulation in, plus rigid insulation for a better thermal envelope. 5280exteriors.com. The altitude of quality.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Food critiques.
I love chicken. I hate chicken salad.
What?
If you put chicken salad in front of me, I'd gag.
Hard-hitting analysis.
I took an Ambien on accident before practice, and that's what he looked like out there.
And some constructive criticism.
Reminded me of the show that Mike had yesterday. Just a little off, not completely there. You were like, Mike, are you going to take control of this show? Like, how many times did you have to say that yesterday?
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
How high
Brandon Stokely, I suppose, is the ceiling for the Denver Nuggets now that they have made some offseason moves. That is certainly a question that we could be asking after a free agency period yesterday afternoon that was much more active than I think I was expecting and many around Nuggets Nation were expecting. They kick it off by trading Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, along with a 2032 first-round pick that they had to kick down the road to the East Coast because of their bad contract situations. It is important to note, by the way, because I've seen this on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043 and on social media, that people are blaming Calvin Booth for Michael Porter Jr.'s bad contract and all that. And I do think it's important just to point out, not that I will go out of my way to defend Calvin Booth, that Tim Connolly actually paid Michael Porter Jr. the contract that he's currently on. Booth was still an assistant GM at that time, and that contract was made before the current CBA that introduced all the aprons and all that stuff. So it was a different world we were living in back then.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
That is the best kind of correct, actually, when you can put your finger up and say, what? Technically, I feel like Mike Evans embodies that whole spirit a lot. But that was just the first move as they follow up that big trade, that blockbuster move, by bringing back Bruce Brown. They didn't run it back with Bruce. He spent 2 years abroad, went to Indiana, went to Toronto. He was a big part of Indiana bringing in Pascal Siakam, and then he kind of bounced around. But he chased the bag, which you can't necessarily hate on professional athletes for doing at times. And now it's clear that he comes back and he wants something different, and that is to win a championship. And I think what's most evident about that, Brandon Stokely, is he signed for a vet minimum deal. He wasn't looking for any kind of money. He literally gave the Nuggets the most convenient, team-friendly, and easy possible signing that he could to come back when he certainly could have commanded more, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, probably so. But, he got a nice contract after the championship season, which he deserved. And I think sometimes as a veteran player, once you get to a place that you really love and then you go to some other places and it's just not the same, and then you've made your money, now you just want to just have fun. He's bounced around a little bit here in the last couple years. I mean, he was in Indy, he was in Toronto, he was in New Orleans. That's not fun.
No.
Bouncing around all over these different places. And it's obvious that he loves playing for the Nuggets. He loves living here. It's a great fit. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he could have made a little bit more money elsewhere, but he's made his money now. And he got a nice contract. So to be able to come back, and I think it's a win-win. I think you're going to get the best from Bruce Brown. I really don't care what his stats say the last couple years bouncing around to these different places. I think he's a good fit. I think they'll have a perfect role for him, coming off the bench, which the Nuggets need. He'll have that veteran presence, and all the guys love him. So he'll be a perfect fit on the court, but also in the locker room. I think it's a home run signing for the Nuggets.
I certainly would assume that chemistry is not going to be an issue with Bruce Brown coming back into the lineup because the vast majority of the starting five were players he already played with, outside of who you would assume Cam Johnson would step into the Michael Porter Jr. slotting there. Everybody else he played with and helped win a championship with. So I don't think chemistry is going to be an issue there. And I suppose if he is going to have the same role as that come off the bench spot shooter kind of guy, we're probably going to compare him most comparably to what we saw from Russell Westbrook, who was brought in to be a spark plug, leader of the bench unit, veteran presence kind of guy. And I do think that Bruce Brown is going to bring some of the exact same positive things that a Russell Westbrook brought. He's got kind of a swagger about him. He's got a little bit of a defensive intensity about him, which is something that Russell Westbrook had in a positive light. But it's not going to come with some of the erratic inconsistencies that we saw from Westbrook. It's probably going to come with a better shooting ability, especially from beyond the arc, even though his volume shooting isn't as high in the last couple of seasons as, Russ's would be. And I don't think you're definitely not going to have any of the locker room drama and the off-court stuff that we saw bubble over with, Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook getting in an altercation, teammates talking to Ramona Shelburne behind the scenes and all of that. You pointed out, and I think it's 100% true, that there's something about Colorado and the Nuggets that Bruce Brown just genuinely wants to be here and wants to be a part of. Even when he was bouncing around from Indiana to Toronto to New Orleans, what have you, he's being photographed on his own Instagram wearing Colorado Avalanche hats, and he's posting memory photos, throwback photos of his time with the Nuggets. And he clearly, this place, this team, and those teammates made an impression on him, and now he's back. And I do think that we are going to find out whether or not he can fill the void or be that same player that he was when they won the title in 2023. What's your confidence that Cowboy Bruce on the sequel is going to be as good as it was with the original?
Well, I think he's going to be a great fit. I mean, is he going to average 11.5 points like he did here the last time? Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think he's going to be the guy that they're looking for coming off the bench. A little bit more reliable than Russ, right? Not the boom or bust that you got with Russell Westbrook. So I think you're going to see kind of similar to what you saw a couple years ago. Right around, he'll be a double-digit point guy, and he'll just provide a spark. He'll provide some energy, and he's a tough guy. And so, I just think it's a really good fit. You knew they needed to add to this bench. I think it's a great addition for nothing. And now you can still add more here, right? The Cam Johnson trade gives you flexibility money-wise. Now you're out of the luxury tax, so now you have like a mid-level exemption or some crap like that. I don't know.
You went from having to use a taxpayer mid-level exception to now you don't have to use the taxpayer MLE. You can just use a different variation of it that allows you to squeeze in more money and therefore bring in a better player. Again, NBA trades and bird rules, and
you just have more flexibility here to do some different things now, and the party's just getting started. So there's some other moves that the Nuggets can make, but first day, right out the gates, hey, great job, Nuggets.
MPJ is gone. Cam Johnson is here. Bruce Brown is back. But I do think Brandon Stokely is on to something when he says the new look Nuggets maybe still have another move left to make, and we'll discuss what that should be coming up next.
Will the Broncos be in the wild card race again this season?
I think you're going to look at the Chargers. I think you're going to look at Pittsburgh. Got to put Cincy in there also.
The lesson that we've learned here is that out of the wild card contenders, and there'll be 3 of them, I really like the Broncos positioning as being one of the top teams in that pool.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
What is happening, fellas? Hopefully your week is off to a great start. I know that mine is. Summer is in full effect. That's vacation, barbecues. You got beach days, long nights with people you love. This is a season to feel alive, right? But if your energy's level low or your drive is just a little bit off, you could be suffering from low testosterone. Getting treated is the first step to feeling your best for all these great summer activities. Best time of the year, but not if you're suffering with low testosterone. Guys, did you know early to your mid-30s, you start losing 2 to 3% of your testosterone production every year, and it happens gradually. And before you know it, you just don't feel like the same person you did in your 20s. And most men wait a year or longer to go get treated, and there's no need to wait. Start taking your health seriously, fellas. Stop procrastinating. My friends at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, they've served the Front Range of Colorado for nearly a decade, and they successfully have treated tens of thousands of men. Jeff and his crew over there, they're the absolute best. They have 5 locations in Colorado to serve you. Fort Collins, North Denver, Central Denver, Castle Rock, and Colorado Springs. Call my friends at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic today. 720-440-7900. That's 720-440-7900. Or you can find them online at RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
you? Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BODY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BODY to 321-321. That's BODY to 321-321.
My name is Mac Davis, and I have been on the Soda weight loss program for 14 weeks now. I have dropped 38 pounds.
Wow.
That's amazing.
The best summer of your life starts with Soda weight loss, because right now, Soda is celebrating with the best deal all year.
Who would have thought that I would be able to lose over 100 pounds? I thought that there was no way that I could do that without having some kind of invasive surgery or diet pill or some other means.
No drugs, no shots. Join the thousands of people who have let go of the weight for good with Soda weight loss.
The best decision I've made in a long time was just to call Soda weight loss.
So I kicked off the program and I lost an amazing 35 pounds. Before Soda, I was taking medications for my blood pressure and cholesterol. Guess who got off those meds?
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Hi, I'm Brad Barnett, president, owner, and founder of Mountain High Appliance. Summer in Colorado is here, and so are the savings. At Mountain High Appliance, we're celebrating the season with exclusive 4th of July savings on GE Profile appliances. Save up to $4,000 on select kitchen packages. With our price match guarantee and special financing options, we make appliance shopping easy. When you think appliances, think Mountain High Appliance.
Mountain High Appliance, your favorite appliance store.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Spine One. Let me ask you a question. You live with back pain, neck pain? Well, my guys at Spine One, they're an emergency room for back pain with same-day appointments. They'll see you and they'll get the journey started. And that's exactly what I did. Whether it's chronic pain, acute pain, work-related, sports-related, doesn't matter. All you got to do is pick up the phone and start your journey just like I did toward pain-free. 303-367-2225. That's 303-367-BACK. Or as always, you can find them online at spineone.com.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Stoke here from my hometown heating and cooling team. ROX rocks heating and air. Don't be caught in the middle of a heat wave with no air conditioning. Keep your cool this summer with a new air conditioner. You can receive system rebates up to $15,000 on select systems. Also, financing as low as $98 a month, but only at ROX rocks heating and air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX rocks heating and air.
We love to celebrate the 4th of July with family, friends, food, and fireworks. Please be safe this Independence Day weekend and don't drink and drive. From your friends at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and the Willhight Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel, Payday is one hard-working candy bar. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it.
Any way you want it, it's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
Self-appointed nicknames.
Obviously, I am the hockey guy at this station.
Grammar lessons.
High five, Flamma Jamma.
And Oscar-worthy impressions.
My version was, get off my plane.
Okay.
Yours was,
get off my plane. It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Dynasty. Well, the Dynasty could be back on. We could be back. We could be looking at the steps of a capital, potentially. At least I feel better about that possibility this morning, Richie Carney sitting in for Mike Evans, than I did maybe yesterday afternoon at about 3 o'clock, let's say, because free agency really started kicking off right after 4 p.m. here, local time. Going into the break, we talked about, yes, the Nuggets did trade MPJ. They sliced off 25% of their core four and brought Cam Johnson in from the Brooklyn Nets. Had to ship another one of those pesky first-round unprotected picks to get it done, but they did it. And then they also brought back Bruce Brown, Brucey B., a member of the title team, one of the key additions, one of the only bright spots, I would say, on Calvin Booth's tenure. Bruce. They bring him back. But is there more moves that need to be made, Brandon Stokely? If you're looking at this Nuggets team, are there holes that you still see? Is there someone else out there that's caught your eye, or maybe a position that you're still worried about?
Well, I mean, I think right now all you're trying to do is add to the bench. Yeah, you're not going to see. I mean, I don't think you're going to see any other big moves. I mean, certainly Jokic isn't going anywhere. I don't see them moving Jamal or Aaron Gordon, and Christian Brown is the one guy right now that's not making a lot of money. So why would you trade him? I think it's just adding to the bench, right? You made your one big move, and now it's, hey, let's get that bench a little bit deeper, and that's what we've seen that has cost the Nuggets the last couple of years. It's just the lack of trust in the bench. So, yeah, we shall see. But no, I don't think it's it. I think they're going to continue to try to add. I don't know if it's going to be trades or just free agent pickups. But I think if you're a veteran player and you're looking and you have different spots that you can go to, you would have to think that the Denver Nuggets are one of the most attractive places that some of these free agents could choose from.
I think co-executive vice president of this would be basketball operations, Ben Tenzer, agreed with the general sentiment of what you're saying there in terms of bolstering the bench and kind of working through the margins of the roster, is how he put it.
I think it's important to hit on the margins more than ever, but you're hard capped at certain situations, so you just have to be aware of what you spend and how that affects, essentially where you're hard capped at.
They're not as hard capped as they were yesterday at this time, that is for sure. Moving off of Michael Porter Jr.'s $38 million that he was going to be due, and bringing in a guy like Cam Johnson, who brings that number down to about 21, 22-ish million. How does it all work and shake out and make sense? Nobody knows. We just all kind of accept it, and it is what it is. Shams Charania tweets it out to us, spits it out on ESPN, and we say, okay, cool, thanks, sounds good. But the margins of the roster, I agree with you in terms of bolstering the bench and trying to figure out ways to constantly survive the non-Jokic minutes, which has been basically the MO for the majority of Jokic's prime thus far, including the year that they won the title. And Bruce Brown, along with Jeff Green, JaMychal Green, right? The Crayola crew, as James Marilat calls them. You had Christian Brown, Bruce Brown, JaMychal Green, Jeff Green. They were a big part of that. But I do think if I was to pinpoint maybe one thing that I'm still not in love with when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, it's that we still don't have a real true backup five, a backup big man behind Jokic to be able to spell him during the regular season so that he's not playing 40 to 42 minutes a night, every night, game in and game out, and then come playoff time, he's just exhausted, and teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder or like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who've done it the best in the past, just physically overwhelm him. They wear him down. They beat him down over the course of a 4-quarter game, and he's unable to do what he needs to do to keep the Nuggets alive. So for me, the backup big situation is still a hole. And I suppose you could look at bringing back DeAndre Jordan, right?
No.
He's a free agent.
No, we're not doing that anymore. I'm not bringing back guys that they won't play. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know why they do that. Like, we don't need a player coach on the bench. We need somebody that can play. And if you're not going to trust the guy to play, they never play him. When he plays, he's fine.
Yeah.
But they don't trust him in the playoffs to give him extended minutes.
So if they bring back DeAndre Jordan, which they have not done yet, he's a free agent, there's still the possibility. And if they were to do so, I imagine it wouldn't be that expensive, because we're kind of just on countdown watch to when is DeAndre Jordan going to retire at this point. And you mentioned it. He's more of kind of a player coach and a locker room guy than he is.
Well, they got DeRon Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you can count on him. When you're looking at, backups, I mean...
He's going to be playing in Summer League, so we'll get a little bit of a taste of action. That's
coming off the Achilles.
Yeah, that's where he popped his Achilles last year.
So, but yeah, I mean, certainly you have to have a better plan for that. I mean, Jokic, your best player. You can't be playing him extended minutes throughout the regular season and the playoffs, and you got to get him more rest but it's hard to give him rest when you don't have someone that you feel comfortable about putting in the game when, everything is on the line, especially in the playoffs. So hopefully Deron Holmes could be that guy. If not, you got to find another guy.
Former Nuggets legend, some might say, Thomas Bryant is available and in theory could be. He had a miraculously uneventful playing career here in Denver, coming over from the Lakers, I believe it was.
It was. And was he with the Pacers?
Yes, I believe so.
So he was. I remember seeing him. I mean, he did some. When I watched, I mean, I wasn't watching Thomas Bryant highlights all year, or watching tape on him. But during the playoffs, I mean, he provided a little something. So, I mean, all we need is a little something. Just don't screw it up. Give Jokic some rest. Let's not screw it up and play hard. That's it. Boom. That's fine. I mean, you're not going to be getting this great player, right? You're getting a reserve guy coming off the bench. Give some good minutes. Give some good energy. Don't screw the thing up. There you go. Pretty simple. Not that difficult. And you're making millions of dollars.
Can I give you a name that intrigues me a little bit and maybe selfishly I might want, even if it's not as easy to do or as possible as like a Thomas Bryant or a DeAndre Jordan, that would solve this problem, I think, in a way that they just have been unable to do for really ever, if we're being honest. Because even the year they won the title, there wasn't a legitimate backup big behind Jokic. They were really extending the likes of an Aaron Gordon. Al Horford with the Celtics is a free agent. Definitely older, closer to that DeAndre Jordan type of player, but was a impactful two-way piece during Boston's title run, which was more recent than the Nuggets. And I still think that he's got enough gas in the tank for a team that's kind of pushing their chips closer to the center of a table and really trying to maximize this window of the core that they have left. I think Al Horford, selfishly, could be a more expensive but more reliable option to try to solve that problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad one, certainly. I mean, the guy can shoot from the outside, too. He's a veteran player, and he knows his role, and he does it really well. I mean, he's old.
He's old. And last year, I think he was
39.
making – yeah. Last year, I think he made $9.5 million a year. So that's certainly not DeAndre Jordan, Thomas Bryant kind of flexibility. Would be more difficult to do, but just, again, something I just want to maybe put out into the universe. I feel more optimistic and hopeful about things the Nuggets can do because of what John Wallace and Ben Tenzer were able to do yesterday. Coming up next, we are going to get an update on all things Denver Broncos from our Broncos insider from 9 News, Mike Klis. And who knows, maybe he'll slip us some more potentially controversial news about the stadium that will have Brandon Stokely up in knots. That's next.
Will the Broncos be in the wild card race again this season?
I think you're going to look at the Chargers. I think you're going to look at Pittsburgh. Got to put Cincy in there also.
The lesson that we've learned here is that out of the wild card contenders, and there'll be 3 of them, I really like the Broncos positioning as being one of the top teams in that pool.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Are you self-employed or a contractor and struggling to find a lender that can help you access the equity in your home to pay off your high-interest debt? My friends at American Financing have the perfect loan for you, the bank statement loan. They can get you qualified by using your bank statements, which many other lenders are unable to do. The credit card bills are going to continue to climb, so don't wait any longer. Call today. American Financing is saving their customers an average of $854 a month, and if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you greater savings up front. Even if you've been turned down by other lenders, give them a call. American Financing has been helping borrowers just like you with this new loan program. There are no upfront fees or obligation to find out how much you can save every month. Call American Financing at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 to start. Visit our TRT experts at Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized for your body, and most major health insurance is accepted. With the freedom to choose if you want an in-center care or at-home treatment, you're in control of your health. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment. Offer limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay out via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Hey guys, Stokely here from my friends at 5280 Waste Solutions of Denver. Are you unhappy with your current trash removal and recycling company for your home or business? Do you have a project and need a temporary dumpster? Then call 5280 Waste Solutions. They're located right here in Colorado. So Colorado isn't just where they work, it's a place they call home. 5280 Waste Solutions guarantees your residential or commercial business trash pickup will be swift and on time. Go to 5280waste.com. 5280 Waste Solutions, your hometown brand.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Comcast. Well, spring has sprung, and you know what that means. It's officially moving season. A time filled with hours of packing, unpacking, and so much bubble wrap. But the first thing you should do when moving is make sure the Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity. It's super quick and easy to set up. Then, boom, you'll have your new home hooked up with the ultimate Wi-Fi experience faster than the time it takes to parallel park a moving truck. Then, you'll be back online with the most reliable Wi-Fi and the best in-class equipment from Xfinity. So you can just kick back, relax, and stream your favorite movies and TV shows while someone else deals with all those boxes. Because with Xfinity, the only thing you'll have to worry about is remembering where you pack the remote. Make it right, make it easy, and move with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com/move. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024.
This segment on The Fan is brought to you by Embers Golf, where your passion meets the green.
modern nonsense.
This thing has gone totally off the rails.
Some Cajun seasoning.
Gree-gree?
And the occasional anatomy lesson.
Yeah, we're tight.
Okay.
We're like tired of mouse nuts.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Operator, won't you put me on through? I gotta send my love down to Baton Rouge. Hurry up, won't you put her on the line? I gotta talk to the girl.
Not going out to Baton Rouge, unfortunately, Brandon Stokely, but we will go out to the hotline to check in, as we do every single week on this show, with our 9 News Broncos insider Mike Klis, presented by Fitness Gallery. Mike, always good to talk to you, man. Richie Carney sitting in for Mike Evans alongside Brandon Stokely. And how you doing, Mike? How you feeling? We got Broncos training camp a couple weeks away.
Yeah, it's vacation time. You know, usually on vacation you spend a lot of it thinking about training camp starting and the grind that comes up. I'm out in Oswego, Illinois, my hometown, where it's hot and humid, but been a nice, relaxing trip.
Mike, contract extensions. You know, you got like 4 guys that we've been talking about a lot this offseason: Courtland, Bonito, John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen. Do you think any of them get done before training camp? Do you think it's a situation where maybe 1 or 2 get done, or does this drag on into training camp and into the season?
Well, Courtland, if they don't get Courtland done before training camp, it would be an issue, I would think, because you know, Courtland has made it clear he's not playing for $14 million in 2025. I think both parties will work hard, probably starting 10 days before the start of training camp, to try to get something done there. It might be a little tricky, might be a little dicey. In the end, I think they'll get something done because I think Courtland, wants to make sure he's playing with this team. You know, he finally got on a winner. The Broncos did not win his first 6 or 7 years in the league. They finally got a winner. They finally got to the playoffs. It looks like they got a better team in 2025, and I know he wants to be a part of that. So I think they will get something done. And then, of the other guys you're talking about, I would think Bonito would be somewhat of a priority, again, because he's just finishing up his rookie contract, his first contract. Those are always the guys you want to get for a second contract. And then the guys that, are on their third contract, you're a little more patient with them because, Zach Allen's already getting paid pretty good. He averaged $15.25 million. With the contract he's playing on right now, you definitely want him long term, but you might be a little bit more patient and put Bonito ahead of him.
Mike, when training camp does roll around in just a couple of weeks and all of our vacations come to an end, there's going to be some crowded position groups that are going to have to be thinned out a little bit. So as you're kind of forecasting things, as you often do, I read everything you put out there at 9news.com. Give us some names of some guys who might be facing an uphill battle more so than their counterparts. I think of like an Audric Estime, maybe like a J.L. Skinner in a more crowded safety room, the tight end room with Evan Ingram, defensive line. Who are some guys that you think might be on the bubble heading into training camp 2025?
Yeah, I think that way. J.L. Skinner, I wouldn't think is going to be on the bubble because, at least with the previous coaching staff, he was a monster on special teams. I mean, they really like that guy on special teams. And so I would think there's a good spot for him there. I think P.J. Locke, he's been hurt, and he's got $4 million, $5 million, something like that, non-guaranteed. Anybody with a non-guaranteed portion, and they basically took his job away by signing Hufanga, his starting job away. I would think P.J. Locke's still on this team because he's Hufanga's had some injury history. Brandon Jones has had some injury history. Those guys, you kind of don't plan on them playing 17 games. You know, if you get 15 games out of both those guys, that's pretty good, and it would be nice to have a P.J. Locke right behind them. But, that running back room, though, will be where all attention is for the third running back spot. You know, Sean Payton says, don't start counting. Well, you dress 3 on game day, and 2 of them are going to go to Dobbins and Harvey. And then will it be Jaleel? Is that the one that complements those guys? Is it Estime? Is it Tyler Bidet? I keep hearing that they're impressed with Tyler Bidet's overall versatile type game. So that is going to be something worth watching. And really, I think that's going to be decided not necessarily through training camp, but the preseason. You know, who pops in those first couple of preseason games.
Mike, real quick, odds on where the new stadium will be. Lone Tree, Aurora, or downtown?
Burnham. Yeah, Burnham Yard is the leader in the clubhouse, guys. No doubt about it. That seems to be the preferred site. A lot of complications, though. I would Burnham Yard. I'm not. You would go maybe a little over 50-50. There's so many complications there, though, that you wouldn't go 75%. You wouldn't go 80%. So
slight leader.
Burnham Yard, then Lone Tree, I would think are the top 2.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your time as you volunteer it to us every single week, and we'll check in with you again soon.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Coming up next, we are Stokely's going to take a break because he was kind of hoping that maybe Burnham Yard would be more than a coin flip or so favorite, I think, over Lone Tree as it creeps closer to the Rock there and Mount Crumpet. But we're going to give him some time. He's going to regroup. He's going to recalibrate. And then we're going to kick off our top 5 list of the day, which is top 5 favorite breakfast foods. Something tells me this one's actually going to be more heated than some of the ones in the past because this is just like a silly thing that people hold on to. And we're also going to answer the question, are we giving enough credit to one of the more familiar athletes here in town? That's next.
The Nuggets kicked off free agency with a bang, trading Michael Porter Jr. and a future first-round pick to Brooklyn in exchange for Cam Johnson. With a piece of their championship core now gone, can the Nuggets reload for another title run? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
What is happening, fellas? Stoke here for my friends at Roller Auction, a leader in Colorado auctions for over 40 years, and they got some great auctions that will be ending next week. Got a ton of them that will be ending next week. All you got to do is go to rollerauction.com to get logged in, to get signed up. It's free. It's easy. It's open to the public. And the best part about Roller Auction is you're going to get great deals on great items. Got a Center at Rock Creek Assisted Living Facility auction that will be ending on Monday, July 7th at 1 o'clock. This got fitness equipment, adjustable medical beds, kitchen equipment, office equipment, spa equipment, supplies, and so much more. Also got a Farmer Water Pike auction that will be ending on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's got presses, blast cabinets, injection mold machines, milling machines, auto baggers, labelers, and additional equipment also in that auction. They also got a restaurant equipment auction that will be ending next Tuesday, a construction and contracting equipment auction ending next Wednesday. Next week is packed full of all kind of big ticket items, cars, trucks, SUVs, you name it. They probably got it in these auctions. And like I said, you're going to get great deals on great items. Go see it all and get yourself one of those great deals at rollerauction.com. That's rollerauction.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer? It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins? I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payout via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Quitters! This is the story of a big made-for-TV firm that quit on their sweet little old lady client. Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040. A little while ago, we had a call into 303 Law 4040 from a sweet little old lady who had been injured in a car accident. Now, it was a little bit of a complicated case due to her age, but a big made-for-TV lawyer didn't want to do the work and just quit on her. She came into the 303 Law 4040 offices and said, Dan, I'm not looking to get rich, but this just doesn't seem fair. We agreed and told her that we couldn't guarantee her anything, but were willing to put in the work. And after a ton of work, we were proud to tell her that we got the original $13,000 offer all the way up to $100,000. At 303 Law 4040, we're here to help you after you've been injured in a car accident, not take advantage of you like some of the big made-for-TV firms. You always get to meet with us for free, and you never pay a dime unless we get money on your behalf. So save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040, 303 Law 4040.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today at 720-405-3300. That's 720-405-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Replace stop, opt out. Terms and conditions apply to the earnings promotion.
Do you have caregiving experience as a parent, teacher, nanny, coach, or in another similar role? Hop, Skip, Drive is looking for experienced caregivers who want to help students in their community by driving them to and from school. Earn up to $50 per ride with Hop, Skip, Drive's welcome promotion, all while helping your community. If you have your own vehicle that is no more than 10 years old, a clean driving record, and at least 5 years of caregiving experience, you could become a Hop, Skip, Drive care driver. Just text STUDENT to 323232 to get started right now. Hop, Skip, Drive gives you the flexibility to set your own schedule and earn competitive pay. It's simple. Drive in your free time and make a real difference for students right in your neighborhood. Don't wait. Text STUDENT to 323232 right now. Text STUDENT to 323232 and start earning up to $50 per ride during Hop, Skip, Drive's welcome promotion period. That's STUDENT to 323232. Text STUDENT to 323232 now.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. National Western Complex. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. National Western Complex. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. National Western Complex. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. National Western Complex. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. National Western Complex. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is your chance to reclaim your restless nights and upgrade to a premium mattress. Get matched. Sleep at night.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Bold takes.
I would put my fajitas up against any Mexican restaurant.
Active listening.
You weren't listening to a word I just said.
Plus, a little number crunching.
What's 12 minus 1? 12 minus 11. 1. This is why math confuses me.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Bruce Brown is back. Michael Porter Jr. is out. Cam Johnson is in. We will go over the flurry of Nuggets moves in free agency over the course of today's show. Good chatting with Mike Klis, our 9 News Broncos insider, presented by Fitness Gallery. And one burning question that I still have as it relates to the Denver Broncos is, Stoke, are we giving enough credit to one of the more familiar Denver Broncos in town? Because I just want to pose the question that maybe we might not be. Do you have any idea who I might be talking about?
No, I don't think so.
I'm talking about Courtland Sutton. I think that Courtland Sutton has certainly been in the contract negotiations, kind of spurred that forward with, are they going to get a deal done with him? If they do get a deal done with him, are they going to pay him maybe more money than he's worth at this stage in his career, going into what I believe is year 8 in the NFL, creeping up on a decade of service with the Broncos? And I feel like there's a general sentiment around the fan base that maybe the Broncos would be better off, or would at a minimum be fine moving on from Courtland Sutton. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Do you feel that way? Where's your head at when it comes to Courtland Sutton, who is in search of a contract extension, again, going into year 8 in the NFL, living a position that you as a former wide receiver have lived through? Is Courtland Sutton a vital piece for this Broncos offense in 2025?
I think in this situation it's a little bit tricky because I think we view Courtland. He's not a top-tier number 1 wide receiver. He's a really good fit for the Denver Broncos, and he's a really good fit for Bo Nix. So where is that price point for a guy like him? If you want to get something done, if you're the Denver Broncos, what does that look like? I don't think you want to overextend yourself here. How many more good years does he have left? He's getting, he's right around, 30 years old. And so I think you have to look at the next 2 or 3 years and say, okay, can he continue to provide what he did last year? Go over 1,000 yards, have that type of season. For me, I don't want to lose Courtland because I don't know what we have behind him right now. And that's the biggest issue here is you got a lot of young guys behind him, and we don't quite know what we have. And it's too risky right now because you're still developing Bo. Bo's still learning. We still need weapons around him, as many as we can get. And Courtland's our best wide receiver. So I think you're in the Broncos situation. To Klis's point, Klis said, that's probably the guy you got to take care of first. I agree. I think in this situation, you don't want to mess around with Courtland Sutton. I don't want any distractions offensively. I don't want him holding out. I don't want him holding in, any of that stuff. I think you got to make him happy. You compromise here. You find a good number for the Broncos. You give him a pay raise, whether that's a 2-year extension, 3-year extension, whatever the case may be. I think that's what you'll see the Broncos doing. He does have a lot of value to this offense. You don't have a lot of other options, right? You could say, well, he's not a true number 1. And I probably could argue with you on that one. I think he is a number 1, not a top tier number 1.
Would he be a number 1 for half of the teams in the NFL? Is he like a top 50% in that category?
Right around there, but he's a number 1 for the Denver Broncos.
That's all that matters.
Right, and it's not even close. So, and he's a great leader. He checks a lot of boxes. So. I just think that's one guy you got to take care of, and I think they will.
I hear the discourse on the airwaves. I see it on social media and online, and it just really had me thinking, listen, I know that Courtland Sutton may not be a number 1 wide receiver, for the majority or some of the teams around the league. But to your point, he is the number 1 wide receiver for the Broncos, and I agree with you, actually, that despite the fact that he's maybe a lesser end number 1 guy, it's not close between Courtland Sutton and a number 2 right now. And so when you're talking about, hey, thanks but no thanks, appreciate you, Courtland Sutton, off to greener pastures. This is 135 targets for Bo Nix last season. Just under 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. And the year before that, with Russell Wilson, he was a 10-touchdown receiver. And I think that one of the more underrated elements of Courtland Sutton's game is that he's been able to find ways to develop chemistry and reliability and a connection with a complete revolving door at quarterback basically since he walked into the league. Stoke, before he got hurt in 2019, he had a 1,100-yard season where they had 3 different starting quarterbacks, legitimate starting quarterbacks, over the course of the season. And when the name of the game is Bo Nix's development, I'm with you. Even if it costs me maybe a little more than I'd like, I don't want to do anything that could potentially be pointed to as a reason for regression for Bo Nix in his sophomore season.
Yeah, you keep your weapons. And, this guy's here. He knows the NFL game. You don't know what you're going to get with Pat Bryant, their drafted guy, wide receiver from Illinois. Mims, his role is limited to
gadget.
I don't want to say gadget, but that kind of, you're on the right track. Yeah, move him around all over the football field. We'll have him in the backfield. We'll do jet sweeps. We'll put him in the slot. We'll put him outside. But he's not the guy that you're going to look at and say, we're going to play you 60 plays a game wide receiver. Vele, we like him, late round draft pick, but is that a guy that you can say going into his second year, you're going to play 60 or 70 plays, and he's going to go out there and consistently make plays like Courtland Sutton does? No, I can't say that right now. So Courtland Sutton's very valuable for the Denver Broncos right now. I think they'll get something done, and they're not going to mess around with it. Bo, to your point, we've seen quarterbacks have good rookie years and regress in their second year. You want to take you want to make it as easy as possible for him to continue to develop, and for this offense to continue to take the next step. We lived in a world of bad offensive football for so long. Now we have some positive signs. Why would you mess around with it? I don't think they will.
I think if I had to boil one of my favorite contributions from Courtland Sutton down to like a simple thing, it's just that it's 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 7, it's 3rd and 8. We're at the 35-yard line. We need a first down. Who's catching that ball? And to me, the first name and really the only name that truly comes to mind on a consistent basis is Courtland Sutton. Now, if Devon Vele takes another step, maybe Marvin Mims expands his role a little bit, maybe Evan Ingram as the joker helps resolve some of that. But until there's another legitimate, consistent answer to that question in terms of a possession receiver, somebody on a gotta-have-it down, gotta-have-it situation that Bo Nix can feel comfortable throwing it up and watching somebody go get it, I think you have to maintain that level of respect for Courtland Sutton. That's just how I view it.
Yeah, and Sutton's done it without anyone around him.
Right.
Also. You said the quarterbacks, but how about he's got who's been the number 2 wide receiver? Who's been the tight end? Who's been the slot receiver? How's that running game look?
Teams have been able to allocate their best defenders to Sutton.
If you look at, who you're trying to stop, if you're a defensive coordinator, it's been Courtland Sutton. So he's getting the most attention. And now, hopefully, we can take some of that attention away from him with Ingram, a better running game, hopefully, a better complement over there on the other side, the number 2 wide receiver, number 3 wide receiver. So I think it should, it should be a little bit easier for him to go out there and make plays because he's got, better teammates around him. And he's not going to be the one guy that you look at and say, okay, well, we got to stop this guy. We'll be fine.
Mike Klis put the urgency out there and said, hey, if you got to get a guy done, Courtland Sutton's probably at the top of that list. And with training camp just a few weeks away, we will see if Greg Penner, George Payton, Sean Payton feel the same way. Coming up next, we're going to debut the beginning of our top 5 list of the day, our top 5 breakfast foods. And we're going to ask the question, how did yesterday's moves with Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, etc., impact the Denver Nuggets title window? That's next.
He's back. After 2 seasons away, Bruce Brown is returning to the Mile High City. Will Cowboy Bruce bring the same swagger, toughness, and clutch shooting that helped the Nuggets win their first ever title? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Summer is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your tan or abs, guys. I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to decades of thinning during Advanced Hair's once-yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and it can even grow for life. Did I mention Advanced Hair even guarantees your new hair will grow? Did I mention that I had this done over 20 years ago and am a complete success story? My hair has continued to grow some 20 years later. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during Advanced Hair's best offer ever. The summer sales event is on for a limited time, so schedule your free consultation and get the details today. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Call 720-459-HAIR or visit advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer? It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
For over a century, Pella Windows has delivered energy-efficient innovation, keeping your home cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. Visit Pella's Denver showroom for a free estimate and special anniversary savings. Call 877-67-PELLA or visit PellaofDenver.com. Love the Pella difference.
I have been on the SOTA weight loss program for 14 weeks now. I have dropped 38 pounds.
Wow.
The best summer of your life starts with SOTA weight loss, because right now, SOTA is celebrating with the best deal all year.
The best decision I've made in a long time was just to call SOTA weight loss.
Before SOTA, I was taking medications for my blood pressure and cholesterol. Guess who got off those meds?
Get started now at SOTAweightloss.com.
SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
This is Rob Willhight of the Willhight Law Firm. If you've been seriously injured in a truck or car wreck, you want Willhight. We've been voted best personal injury law firm for the last 3 years in a row. Call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WillhightWins.com and win big with Willhight.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text BOSS to 321321. That's BOSS to 321321. BOSS to 321321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not Not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is powered by American Financing.
Sharp criticism.
Mark Schlereth's a pansy.
Cries for help.
Dude, wake up.
No.
I need better from you.
And a little bit of tough love.
If the truth gives you a wedgie, then you know what? Buy better underpants.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
We have a little breaking news as it relates to the NBA and the Denver Nuggets. Going into the break, we were going to talk about the title window and this and that and how the moves impacted that. And then during the commercial break, Shams Charania, ESPN NBA insider, puts out this. J.J. Barea, a 2011 NBA champion with the Dallas Mavericks, has agreed to join the Denver Nuggets as an assistant coach under David Adelman, sources tell ESPN. Barea will be on the front of the Nuggets coaching bench.
Wow.
Stoke, your initial reaction to a coaching hire, not a player acquisition, this morning in free agency for the Nuggets?
Okay. I mean, I remember when he played for the Mavericks.
He was a hero.
So, all right, good job. Hopefully he's a good coach. I don't know anything about what kind of coach he is. So, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All good.
Well, listen, I think at a bare minimum, right, that top lead assistant is an important sidekick and an important part of a coaching staff for an NBA team because the Nuggets' current head coach was that longtime figure for Michael Malone, who was the winningest coach in franchise history. So Adelman was going to have to find somebody, and it was likely going to be external. Everything with the Nuggets typically tends to lean internal, so I actually like that David Adelman went out and found his own guy to be his number two and to find his bench coach that will replace the role that he held for so many years. And I don't know a whole lot about J.J. Barea as a coach in the NBA either, but I will say this. He has been a head coach before for a few different teams in Puerto Rico. That is his home country, and he was a player development coach with the Mavericks. That's where he obviously spent a good chunk of his playing career, won the championship in 2011, and he was shutting down LeBron James and all of that. And based on the initial reaction from Dallas, it's somebody that the Mavericks and Mavericks fans are upset to see leave. Probably not as upset as Luka Doncic, but I'm cool with this. I think this is interesting. I think that we are, again, just reminded and pointed to the fact that this is going to be a new look Nuggets regime and Nuggets team. So if this is a guy that can gel with Jokic and maybe get Jamal Murray in shape a little bit faster, then I think the Nuggets are going to be better for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, he's assistant coach, right? I'm not going to make a big deal about it either way. Hopefully he does a good job. All good. I'm looking for some more player acquisitions. That's what gets me fired up.
Yep, I'm seeing it on Twitter here a little bit too, that one of the names I threw out to you as a potential backup big, Al Horford, might be a more difficult acquisition because his services are coveted by other teams around the league, including the Golden State Warriors, who are trying to zero in as a top target in Al Horford. We'll see if those negotiations end up pulling through. I asked you going into the break, Stoke, the moves they made yesterday, the blockbuster trade, Slice and Michael Porter Jr., a member of their championship core, off, sending him to Brooklyn for Cam Johnson, and they had to throw a 2032 first-round pick in there as a little sweetener, and then bringing back Bruce Brown on a vet minimum deal. What, in your opinion, do those moves do, if anything, to the Denver Nuggets title contending window?
Well, I think they've gotten better. I think Cam Johnson is going to be a better fit with this core group. Seems like to me he can get to the basket. He can create his own shots. Where we just saw Michael Porter Jr. in a lot of, in certain parts of games just kind of get lost. He just stands there. He gets the ball. If he's guarded, if he's covered, he's just going to pass. He's not going to be able to get his own shot off. So I think Cam Johnson's going to be a better fit for this offense. And then you add a nice bench piece, a guy that can come off the bench and provide a spark for you in Bruce Brown. So that was needed. And then the flexibility that you have here And with the contract situation now, freeing you up more to go out there and be more aggressive to add more pieces to the bench. So I wouldn't be surprised here in the next day or two where we see, well, not only maybe a signing, but you might see a trade or two here with some of these bench guys when you look at Strother, Watson, or whoever it may be, Pickett, where you're trying to move those guys and replace them with someone else. So, but I thought it was a really, really good start for the Nuggets. They got financial flexibility now to be able to do a little bit more with this trade, but also I think they get a piece that's going to fit with their group a little bit better than Michael Porter Jr.
They have buyout potential with a guy like Dario Saric, who opted into his player option for just over $5 million, as any of us, I think, would do in his situation. They open themselves up. They get below the luxury tax and open themselves up to a non-taxpayer level exemption, which allows them to squeeze a little bit more money and opens up the player pool that they get to swim in. And FanDuel Sportsbook, frankly, agrees with you, Stokely, in terms of their title window being maybe more open or at least closer to being reached than it was this time yesterday afternoon. Before free agency started at 4 p.m. local time here in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets had a plus 1,700 odds favorability to win the NBA title in 2025. 3 hours into that free agency period, after the moves had all gone down, where do you think the Nuggets line moved to?
1,200.
Plus 850.
Big jump.
Big jump. Basically, doubled the favorability, more or less, of them to be NBA champions in 2025. I don't know that on paper, bringing in a Cam Johnson and signing back Bruce Brown alone leads to that kind of a jump or is worthy of that kind of a jump. But again, if you're projecting forward with the added flexibility and the things that they can do now that they were basically handcuffed to being able to do before, I could see it. Does these moves and, this jump in favorability and odds, does it increase the urgency or the expectation for you going forward? Were you title or bust going into this season, and that's now the same, or has the urgency kind of increased in your opinion?
No, I mean, I think they've given themselves a better chance. They're a better team, and now that's why I'm excited to see what's next. And I don't think it's going to be anything big, but I think it's going to be something that could really, help them. And we've seen the last 2 years where the bench has been a big issue, especially in the playoffs. And so we'll see how they're going to address it. You got 2 new sets of eyeballs that are calling the shots together. You got a new coach. Hey, big move yesterday, and I think you're going to see a couple more moves, not as big as that, but you'll see a couple other moves here to address the bench situation. And, I feel really good about this team. Look, the West is really good.
And it's getting better.
Exactly. So, is it championship or bust for me right now? I mean, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, you got Jokic, and you got most of your guys. You're spending a lot of money. I mean, that's kind of what it always is when you have a team with Jokic at the core of it and the rest of these guys. So, but I feel much better about it today than I did yesterday. And it has me more excited about, the rest of free agency and what the and now what this group can do to compete with the other teams in the West, and a few of them gotten much better.
Let's kick off our top 5 list of the day. Top 5 favorite breakfast foods. We've been teasing it all morning, seeing a lot of responses on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. Brandon Stokely, kick us off with number 5 on your list of top 5 breakfast foods.
I'm going with French toast. Ooh. Good old French toast. Love a good French toast, like a nice thick one. Syrup, butter. Yeah. French toast.
Powdered sugar. Delicious. You powdered sugar guy?
Oh, yeah. A little powdered sugar. Yep.
Diabetes.
Love that. That may or may not make an appearance on my list as well. But I will start off. I gave an honorable mention real quick because it's a breakfast food, but it's not quite a standalone, in my opinion. It's worthy of being represented nonetheless, and that's bacon. I love bacon, and you can have the debate. Is it crispy? Is it too crispy? Is it this? Is it that? I think it has to be represented. So I gave it an honorable mention since it's not a singular breakfast item. My number 5 was Eggs Benedict. It's a little bit.
I hate eggs
Do
Benedict.
you really?
Oh, my
Why?
gosh. I will never order that.
Why? That surprises me.
I don't. What do they have on there?
Hollandaise?
Yeah, I'm out.
Wow.
Not a hollandaise guy.
Poached egg. You get a little English muffin, maybe some Canadian bacon. You can do different.
And I hate Canadian bacon, too.
I put regular bacon on it. I don't care. That's my bougie fancy brunch item. Ty, you got something to add here? Nope.
No.
Guess not. He was kind of giving me the eyes. Well, we will kick off.
He's got sunglasses on.
Yeah, but it was like a.
How
look,
does he
it
give
was like
you
a
the
look.
eyes? He's got. And why are you wearing sunglasses
Inside.
How are your eyes? Did you get in a scuffle? Did you get in a scuffle last night or something yesterday?
Got his pupils dilated.
Huh? I mean, he does do fighting.
Yeah, he's a mixed martial artist.
But he's got the sunglasses on inside. You've never done that, Ty.
I'm just giving it a shot, but
now you have
it's
something
just
to add.
that, the sun's just beaming right in, and I have to turn directly into the sun, stare right down the barrel to work on the computer over here.
Staring right down the barrel of the sun. I love it. Ty does have the most eclectic dress choices of anyone here in the morning. He wears bucket hats. He's got the jersey with no shirt, flip-flops, sunglasses. We'll see what else Ty's fashion choice has in store for us this morning. Coming up on the other side, to make a legitimate playoff run here in 2025, the Denver Broncos are probably going to need one thing in particular, and we'll discuss if they have it coming up next.
Will the Broncos be in the wild card race again this season?
I think you're going to look at the Chargers. I think you're going to look at Pittsburgh. Got to put Cincy in there also.
The lesson that we've learned here is that out of the wild card contenders, and there'll be 3 of them, I really like the Broncos positioning as being one of the top teams in that pool.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, Stoker for Embers Living. Summer's cooking, and so will you. I've been telling you guys all about Embers Living for a while now, and as you know, it's grilling season, and at Embers Living, they have their massive tent sale going on this week. Everything in stock is up to 30% off, and there's a ton of inventory to choose from at Embers Living. They're local, honest, and have everything to elevate your outdoor space, from patio heaters and fire pits to barbecues and full luxury outdoor kitchens. They also got standalone grills, built-ins, pizza ovens, you name it, they've got you covered. It's that time of season. You want to get out and enjoy these great summer evenings here in Colorado. My guys at Embers Living, they can get you taken care of. All you got to do is go to embersliving.com and you can turn your backyard into the envy of the neighborhood. Embers Living, where your perfect patio begins. Don't miss it. Now, remember, got the sale going on right now this week, up to 30% off. Go visit Embers Living. Upgrade your outdoor experience.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Rediscover Ameristar Casino Resort in Blackhawk and find that you. Enjoy all your favorites at our buffet. Chill and revive at our spa. Then take in a great view from our rooftop pool. Plus, join Penn Play Rewards and get your chance at up to $2,000 in Penn Cash. Find that you. Only at Ameristar Blackhawk. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Relentless mind games.
Are you trying to get me in an O'Reilly right now?
Total accountability.
You're always throwing your teammates under the bus. That's just what you do.
And a sprinkle of advanced analytics.
The Boo rating, BOO, which is balls over opponent.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
The Denver Broncos, if they are going to repeat as wild card playoff or just playoff participants in general and make a run at a AFC championship, a Super Bowl, God forbid, we get back to something of a stage like that, they are going to need one thing in particular, Brandon Stokely, and I think that one thing above most else is going to be depth. Is that fair? I mean, you're going to need a lot of things. You need another step from Bo. You're going to need a lot of gambles at the skill positions and the running game that you've made to pay off. You're going to need Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw to stay healthy. All of that is true, but I just think that the teams that make it to the end of that gauntlet, that's the NBA or the NFL, playoffs, they've got the depth to be able to withstand a 100% injury rate in the NFL. So I want to take a look at the Broncos roster, their depth chart as a whole, and maybe see if there are areas heading into training camp 2025 that we're still not 100% confident in terms of the depth to cover a 17-game season and beyond. Are there any?
No, I like that. I mean, obviously in the NFL, everyone's looking for depth, right? I mean, it's hard to find quality backups.
Quality depth.
And you're going to get injured. Broncos have been pretty fortunate to be a pretty healthy team the last couple years. They've done a good job of keeping guys healthy. So hopefully that continues. But certainly that's a big part of the NFL. Winning, being successful is your depth because you're going to have some injuries that happen. It happens to everyone. And can these backups come in and hold down the fort?
I think there's one position group on offense and one position group on defense that right away, off the bat, fall into that category of something that looks good and solved on paper, but could very, very quickly dissolve or evaporate if anything bad happens. And on offense, that's the tight end room for me. I mean, listen, I know they brought in Evan Ingram. He's the joker, and he's going to be that missing piece in Sean Payton's offense. But if Evan Ingram doesn't stay healthy, for one, which you can never predict injury, you know at some point somebody's going to be banged up and dealing with stuff. But if Evan Ingram stays healthy and just doesn't produce or perform at the level that we're kind of expecting him to, and maybe over-hyping our expectations of what his role is going to be, that's still a tight end room with Adam Troutman, Lucas Kroll, and Nate Atkins. Three guys that on any NFL roster would get lost in a shuffle, in my opinion. A handful of Jags.
Well, I think, it's the same guys as last year that didn't do anything.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That's who you have behind Evan Ingram. Nothing's changed. So, yeah, he's very important to this offense, to this passing game, keeping him healthy because you don't have a lot behind him. You have the same guys that we had last year that didn't do anything. So, yeah, very important for Ingram to stay healthy. And then you look at the offensive line, certainly. No one has quality depth on the offensive line. So you need those guys to stay healthy. And for the majority of the last 2 years, they have been a really healthy group. So and they're all returning, which is a big positive there up front. So hopefully those guys can stay healthy. But yeah, offensively, I think you look at Evan Ingram and say he's very important, and he needs to stay healthy.
To your point, I mean, they like what they've seen. We've heard from Palcho, right, as a reserve offensive lineman, kind of swing lineman that can fill gaps along multiple different spots there. But outside of
him a lot.
Yeah, me too. So do they. But outside of that, like Alex Forsythe, regardless of what Alex Forsythe does from here forward, his most notable contribution in memory to Broncos country will be not dying slowly enough on a field goal attempt that would have handed the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss of the season in Arrowhead. And then, Calvin Throckmorton, outside of having a cool last name, Matt Pert. So I agree with you, the offensive line could be thinner than maybe it appears on paper, especially given how much money they've invested in that front five. On the defensive side of the ball, it comes in a room that had one of the more high-profile additions. But inside linebacker, to me, again, is just one slip or one incident injury away from being another position where we're like, God, they have a hole in the middle of their defense. You're going to get Alex Singleton back, who missed a majority of last season with an injury. And Dre Greenlaw, their big addition, when healthy, is one of the better players in the National Football League at his position. And we saw how impactful he was to that 49ers defense when he was no longer available to them. But if history continues down the path that it has gone with Dre Greenlaw, and he struggles during the regular season with injury, then that's going to be another room where we're just looking at a Drew Sanders, a Justin Sternad, and somebody that like Cody Barton and like the revolving door of linebackers beforehand. We're just like, okay, can we survive? Can we survive if we have good secondary coverage and a good pass rush?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, you look at inside linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, he was injured last year, and the other starter next to him was injured last year. So your two starters didn't play a whole lot of football last year at all. They were both injured, and Dre Greenlaw's already injured. I mean, he injured his quad this offseason. So
that was kind of a hush-hush, no big deal.
What is this going to look like during the season? Now, you do have two veterans behind him that have played some football in Sternad. He played last year for Singleton. He got, more playing time, mainly a special teams guy. Sanders, we'll see about him. But, yeah, you're never going to go into a season feeling great about your 53. There's always going to be a couple positions you say, oh, we got to keep our fingers crossed here. We got to stay healthy here. That's a concern there. But I think, you're right here when you look at inside linebacker. If Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw can play, and stay healthy, then you feel good about that position. But if not, all of a sudden that could be a position you look at and say, oh, wow, both those guys are hurt right now. We're in big trouble in the inside linebacker position. But you're going to have that. You can't check every box going into the season. So keep your fingers crossed there. But if healthy, I think it's a good group. If not, you don't have a lot of great depth behind it.
If I were to give you the option, let's just say, because I like to run this exercise sometimes with players who have question marks or injury history especially and whatever. If I were to give you the option right now, ahead of training camp, ahead of the Broncos regular season, that Dre Greenlaw was going to be healthy and productive at his 49ers level, I should say. You're going to get the best out of Dre Greenlaw for 11 games out of 17 this season. Would you sign that deal and take it right now, or would you roll the dice and see if you can get, because you think you can get more than that with the magic of Bo Lowry and how healthy the Sean Payton-led Broncos have been, and would you want more?
No, I'd take it. I mean, 11 games, yeah, that's a lot. And he's playing a high level, at 49er level.
We'll figure out the other 6-7 weeks and the playoffs probably.
Yeah, that's you figure out the other 6 games and put in Sternad or Sanders, and you'll be fine. I mean, look, this defense is really good, and having really good players around you when you're a guy, like if you're a backup like Sternad or Sanders, and who knows, maybe one of these other guys a step up and all of a sudden, become the next Danny Trevathan, So I think when you got really good players around you, like the Broncos do defensively of the inside linebacker position, you look at the interior guys, and they'll be able to run free. They're not going to be a lot of blockers on them in the run game, and the pass rush should get there really quickly to help you in coverage. So it's going to make you a little bit better than maybe you are. So I think defensively, even if you lose a guy like Singleton or Greenlaw, you're gonna be okay in that situation, because as a whole, this defense is really talented.
If you were going to have a soft spot or a potential weak spot at the inside linebacker position, a team set up in a defensive construction like the Broncos, certainly points toward a favorable situation in that regard. When you've got a stout front four on your interior defensive line, you've got solid pass rushers, and you've got increasing depth at secondary that's capped off by the reigning defensive player of the year. And then you have an incoming first-round draft pick who you have high hopes for as well. When it comes to that interior defensive line, obviously for this season, things feel pretty damn deep. I mean, you've got the starting inside group there of Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and JFM, John Franklin Myers. And you got a guy like Malcolm Roach that's sitting behind there, D'Andrea Jackson, Savion Jones. People they feel confident about that they can rely on if needed this season. But a lot of those guys on the starting front, and we'll see if extensions to the likes of a Zach Allen happen, are going to be up after this year. So let's just spinning it forward a little bit more. How confident are you in the Broncos' ability to maybe reload and retain some of that stout defensive line depth that they have?
Well, I mean, we'll see. I think they might hold on to one of them. They might hold on to both of them. When you look at, Franklin Myers and Zach Allen, let's see. I don't know what their plan's going to be, obviously. Do they try to get somebody done before camp? Do they wait during the season and try to get someone done? I think in this situation, that's what you'll probably see with those two guys. See how they're playing, see how the defense is doing, and if you want to get something done during the season, you do. If not, then you know what? You let them walk. You can't always sign everybody, re-sign everybody. So I think the best plan for those two veteran players is you play the season out, and you know what? If they're playing good football during the regular season, when it gets to be, November or around the bye week, whatever the case may be, you look at it and say, all right, we want to try to get this guy locked up. Let's try to do it. And we remember that happening with Derek Wolfe and Malik Jackson. Malik Jackson didn't want to do it. He wanted to wait, and he gambled a little bit, and it paid off. He got a huge deal from Jacksonville. Derek Wolfe took the deal. Perfect. And so the Broncos got one of their interior guys signed up. But when I look at this defense, and you talk about the interior defensive line, we talk about the inside linebackers. I think teams, when they look at how they're going to attack this defense, is, hey, we're going to work the middle of the football field, and we're going to try to run the football. You got to slow down the pass rush. You got to try to wear down the defense. How do you do that? By running the football, quick passes, and work in the middle of the football field. Tight end, slot receivers, running backs out of the backfield. I think that's how teams are going to try to beat the Broncos defense and attack the Broncos defense. So, I think a big goal, and if this defense wants to be elite, is stopping the run. Got to stop the run. If they stop the run, now they're in a great position to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback and do how this defense is built and do what it should be best at, and that's getting after the quarterback. That's causing turnovers where you got to stop the run.
Yep, the better and the more stout you can be on that interior defensive line, the easier job you make for your pass rushers on the outside, offensive lines, and quarterbacks can't allocate different protections to try to take away your edge rushers because you have too much of a formidable force in the middle, which points toward, as we talked to Mike Klis earlier in the day, reasons why that you it may not be first on your list if you want to get a Sutton done and or a Benito done, but the concept of bringing back Zach Allen and locking him down for what he's able to contribute should be and is firmly on the Broncos' radar. On the subject of depth, the last position group that I kind of maybe just raise an eyebrow at because of recent history is actually the cornerback room. We saw when Riley Moss went down due to injury, that secondary took a little bit of a hit in terms of its effectiveness. Patrick Surtain, whose ability was maximized by having Riley Moss performing well on the other side and not just being able to key away from PS2, that kind of went away. We saw Levi Wallace getting torched by Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. Jerry Jeudy having one of the better revenge games in NFL history as a member of the Browns. And you got Chris Abrams-Drain and Jaquan McMillan as your nickel back and things like that, but having to move him around. Does the addition of Jahdae Barron for you wipe a lot of that away, or is the cornerback room, similar to how we saw last year, maybe an injury away from cracking the way that we saw it?
I feel much better about it. Anytime you can add Barron to the list and to the mix, a first-round draft pick, a guy that can play inside, he can play outside, and you add that to a guy like Riley Moss and Pat Surtain, that's a solid group You can have an injury there and still be okay.
Yeah.
Now, you can't have two, but who can say that?
What position group can you have two major injuries to?
Exactly. So, and then I like the backups. You look at Abrams drained. You look at Jaquan McMillan and the type of year he had a couple years ago. He didn't quite play the same last year, but a guy that can play inside and do a great job of it. He finds a way to create plays and make big plays. Delarian Turner. So you have really good depth there, and hopefully you have a couple young guys now that emerge, and that if you do need them for a game or two, can step in and hold down the fort. That's all you're looking to do. Just don't, give up, 500 yards receiving to Jerry Jeudy. That would be nice, right? So
I prefer it.
I think, I feel really good about the depth of that group. And I think adding a first-round draft pick that is you can move him all over the football field. And he can play inside, he can play outside. He's tough, he tackles. So I think that's a big a bonus and boost to this defense. And like you said, that was that really cost the defense there when Riley Moss went down. Then he came back, and he just wasn't quite the same.
He rushed it.
Yeah, he wasn't quite the same there against Cincinnati. So, big addition there with Barron. I think he's going to really help that secondary out. And it's going to be fun to watch and see how Vance, how he uses those guys and, who's outside, who's inside, and what that group looks like. But a lot of flexibility there for Vance and how he's going to use those cornerbacks inside and outside and the safeties also.
At a minimum, what I would say the addition of Jahdae Barron does is it just puts one more piece in the way of a Chris Abrams drain, a Damari Mathis, etc., from having to be called into like regular action the way we saw with Levi Wallace and Abrams drain against the Browns. And that's just another little piece that prevents that. It also, in theory, and I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this as a former receiver, opens up the possibility if the Broncos wanted to maybe implement more dime coverage into VJ's defensive scheme and get all those talented secondary players out on the field at that same time in a league that's increasingly leaning more and more into the passing game. Is that something that you think would be smart for VJ to consider, or does that take too much away from the emphasis on trying to stop the run by removing some front seven players?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you worry about, right? Especially if it's early down and just now. If you got 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, you feel great about your dime package, and you can put as many of those guys on the field as you really want to, and feel really good about whatever the offense decides to do. You just kind of worry about putting it on the field, first down or second down, especially if a team's not going 3 or 4 wide receivers. So because you don't want to get gashed in the run, because you're taking one of the big players out and you're putting in, a smaller cornerback or a safety. But I do think, though, you might see some of those packages from the Broncos because you have safeties that can play down in the box, but also good against the pass and the run. Hufanga, he's that type of player. Also Barron. And I think Riley Moss, I mean, he might be able to be a guy that plays a little bit more inside also if you want to have Barron outside. So you have the versatility of some of these guys that can play inside and do a good job of stopping the run, but also, in the passing game. And I think it just gives you a lot of flexibility there on 3rd down. I think that's when you'll see, a lot more of the dime packages than 1st and 2nd down, because you just got to worry about you feel really good about your group, but all of a sudden, and that's what we used to do in Indy. We would get you on the football field, and we would go 3 wides early, and if you went base, if you went with your base package and you kept your linebacker in there and you didn't bring your nickel back in there, then, okay, we're going to throw the ball on you. And then we're going to do up-tempo, no huddle. So we're not going to let you substitute. Same thing. If you went light and you went with your dime package or your nickel package, okay, we're just going to turn around and hand it to, Edgerrin James. And then we're going to keep you on the football field. What are you going to do, right? And sometimes it's as simple as that, especially if you have a good defense. If you get the wrong guys on the football field, then you just got to be careful there. That's when usually you just kind of like fake an injury.
Yeah, pull a hammy,
cramp. Stretch out the calf. So No, but I think I do. I really love this group because of what you're talking about. I mean, you can do some of those things if you want to, if you advance and bring those guys in, because I think they can hold up against the run with that group and do a good job against the pass. So that's why I'm really excited about this group, because there's so many different options for VJ there as a defensive coordinator.
Flexibility, just like we've talked about for most of the morning about the Denver Nuggets and all the flexibility that they've been able to add, is going to be a key thing for Vance Joseph specifically, but for the Denver Broncos in general if they want to repeat the playoff performance that they had last season. Let's get into some trending topics from around the NFL and beyond.
From sports and news to entertainment and downright debauchery, Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth presents What's Trending Right Now.
Ty had the sunglasses on there, couldn't see the right button. I think that took an extra second or two to get that fired off there. That would be my guess as to what might have happened.
The sunglasses inside.
It is a bold choice.
Yeah.
That might be our first trending topic of the day, is where do we land on sunglasses inside during the day? If it was at night, if we were running like Denver Sports Tonight, it would be absolutely inexcusable. So the fact that the sun's up gives you a chance. But I'm going to go on record and just say I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, I got to wait and see. It caught me off guard when I looked through the glass last segment and saw it.
He looks like he's at like the World Series of Poker. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to figure out.
He looks like he's about that business today, so I'm going to stop messing with Ty.
That is probably smart advice. Stoke, the Pittsburgh Steelers, seems like they're going all in, man. They traded yesterday for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, the tight end. Former Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert on Twitter said this, quote, hot take, be a Pro Bowler on the Dolphins, get treated like you know what. Mostert only started one game for the Dolphins in 2024 after making a Pro Bowl in 2023 and rushing for over 1,000 yards, scoring 21 total touchdowns. He was released earlier this year. Stoke, are the Steelers a legitimate, if they're clearly pushing their chips in the center of the table, they bring in Aaron Rodgers, now they're trading for Jalen Ramsey, they upgraded the wide receiver position. They look like they're going all in, but how big is their hand? How many chips are they actually bringing to the table here in 2025, and are they a legitimate playoff contender in the AFC?
Well, yeah, they are. Of course they are. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got Mike Tomlin. They won 10 games last year.
They win 10 games every year. They just don't do anything in the playoffs.
That is true. They got Jalen Ramsey. They got a Porter Jr. over there, the cornerback.
Joey Porter Jr., right?
Yeah, something like that. His dad was Joey Porter, right? The outside line. But he's a really good corner. They got a really good secondary, and now they're making moves to try to – I mean, they're in a tough division. You got the Ravens. You got Cincy. And you know they're gonna always be in the mix with Mike Tomlin. So some big time. We'll see what Aaron Rodgers has left in the tank ultimately. I still think he can still play, and I think he's going to be a good fit for that offense and for that team. And yeah, you better watch out for the Steelers, certainly.
Yeah, I think that the Steelers are going to face a predictable uphill battle that the Jets faced in bringing in Aaron Rodgers, who I do still think has some gas left in the tank. I think that his Jets tenure, popping his Achilles 3 or 4 plays into his first year with the Jets, really just set the whole train off the tracks from the start. But to your point, Mike Tomlin, the way he's coached that organization, the way that they've been able to maximize more with less and win 9-10 games every year, find themselves in that wild card positioning. They haven't won a playoff game since, I think, 2016. But in theory, if that's their floor, Rodgers should be able to elevate them at least a little bit beyond that. The Washington Nationals made an interesting announcement that got my wheels turning a little bit. They announced that AARP is their new jersey sponsor. Only the White Sox, Twins, Rays, and Rockies remain in Major League Baseball without a jersey sponsor.
How do we not have a jersey sponsor?
Does it take a certain amount of bravery, maybe, to slap your company, your name, your logo, your livelihood on the jersey of a team that could end up being the worst team in the history of professional baseball?
Well, it's better than being just bad. You'd rather be really bad because now you're on highlights. Now you're on highlights. Now you're talked about. If you're just bad, we're not talking about you. You're not on highlights. I mean, the Rockies were on, Sports Center. They're on McAfee because of their historically bad start. But if they were just bad, they're not on McAfee. They're not talking about them with Jeff Paces. Cassius?
Yes, close. Basically.
Right, one of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's not talking about the Rockies. So, yes, now's the time to do it.
Hey, listen.
Get on the ground floor.
To a certain
be
degree,
really bad.
no publicity is bad publicity. If Carl's Jr. is on a Rockies jersey during the SportsCenter Top 10 or the SportsCenter Not Top 10, still sounds like airtime to me. I'm all for it. Dick Monfort, the money-making machine, make it happen. Let's slap some NASCAR jersey or stickers on that jersey. Coming up on the other side, I think it might be time to put a little bit more respect on somebody's name here in Denver. We might have to have a little Wolfpack huddle and see if we need to walk back some comments that have been made here in this town and potentially in this room. And we're going to get all the latest on the Nuggets free agency flurry from our Nuggets analyst, Jake Shapiro, coming up next.
The Nuggets kicked off free agency with a bang, trading Michael Porter Jr. and a future first-round pick to Brooklyn in exchange for Cam Johnson. With a piece of their championship core now gone, can the Nuggets reload for another title run? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, Stoke here from my friends at Trajan Wealth. As a veteran, Trajan Wealth CEO Jeff Jr. fully appreciates the importance of true independence. He founded Trajan Wealth as an independent firm, allowing fiduciary advisors the ability to customize the portfolio to meet your unique goals and needs. That's what it's all about, right? Everyone's goals and needs are a little bit different, and my friends at Trajan Wealth will tailor a plan specifically designed for you. That's what I love about them. And oh, by the way, Trajan Wealth will give you a free review, and they're a great resource to answer any of your financial questions. It's a family-owned and a veteran-led company by Jeff Jr. with wealth management and retirement planning service. Ensure your retirement is the ultimate summer vacation. Call Trajan Wealth today, 720-405-3300. They have offices in Broomfield, Greenwood Village, and Loveland. Call 720-405-3300, or you can find them online at TrajanWealth.com. That's TRAJAN Wealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor, paid advertisement.
My name is Mac Davis, and I have been on the SOTA weight loss program for 14 weeks now. I have dropped 38 pounds.
Wow. That's amazing.
The best summer of your life starts with SOTA weight loss, because right now, SOTA is celebrating with the best deal all year.
Who would have thought that I would be able to lose over 100 pounds? I thought that there was no way that I could do that without having some kind of invasive surgery or diet pill or some other means.
No drugs, no shots. Join the thousands of people who have let go of the weight for good with SOTA weight loss.
The best decision I've made in a long time was just to call SOTA weight loss.
So I kicked off the program and I lost an amazing 35 pounds. Before SOTA, I was taking medications for my blood pressure and cholesterol. Guess who got off those meds?
Get started now at SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later on your timeline. No showings, no double moves. Plus, Orchard handles all home repairs for you, attracting buyers. Buy before you sell and get top dollar with Orchard. Visit Orchard.com for your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Peanut butter and jelly, music and dancing, salt and pepper. At Excel Energy, we believe some things just work better together. Like a heat pump, the 2-in-1 unit that can both cool and heat your home. And better yet, it does so using energy more efficiently than a traditional HVAC system. Better yet, you can also save money on a heat pump with rebates at excelenergy.com/heat pumps. Cooling, heating, and savings. That's a lot to get pumped about. All in one package.
If you miss the filing deadline again, the consequences can be substantial and the penalties huge. After 5 months, you'll owe late filing penalties of 25%, not to mention interest. The recent IRS tactics include prosecuting more non-filers, often criminally. So call the people I trust, Advanced Tax Solutions. They will help you get back into the system and off the IRS's radar. 303-753-6040 or visit advancedtaxsolutions.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, National Western Complex. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. National Western Complex. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. National Western Complex. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. National Western Complex. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. National Western Complex. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. National Western Complex. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan is brought to you by Trade Gen Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Double crossing, you little punk.
Can't believe you did that.
Unbreakable trust.
See, I'm not like you. You just let me drown. You just let me drown. You do nothing.
And of course, emotional maturity.
Or maybe a little bit angry.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Let's go. Don't wait. This night's almost over. Honest.
On the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. Something sparked my curiosity as we were ending last segment, going through some trending topics about how the Rockies are one of the few teams remaining that don't have a jersey sponsor. The Washington Nationals slapped some AARP logos on theirs, and we were having some fun about what company in the world would go out of their way to spend money to put their logo in association with what could be one of the worst teams in the history, or if not the worst, in Major League Baseball. And I realized I don't have to answer that question, because my guess is there's a lot of people on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043 who might have good suggestions as to what companies, maybe even here, locally or nationally, might want to do that. The first one,
I have one.
Do you?
Yeah, one that I work with personally here at the station. 5280 Waste Solutions.
5280 Waste Solutions. You're on the same line as where I was going, was waste management. Feels like it could be.
That's my guys right there.
So, yeah, I'm a local over broader national guy. So 5280 Waste Solutions. If you need us to help with a contact and maybe get in touch there, we are happy to do so. Other Rockies jersey sponsors, Soda Weight Loss, because they're both fantastic at losing.
Wow.
Say it with me. State of the art.
Yep.
Keep them coming on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043. In addition to, if you want to contribute to our list of the top 5 favorite breakfast foods, we have compiled a list together. We are through the number 5 and some honorable mentions. We will kick it off real quick before we check in with our Nuggets analyst, Jake Shapiro, about all the moves.
I'm looking forward to hear from Jake, because I think Jake's, to me, when we've had him on, he's always been a big Michael Porter Jr. fan.
In fact, I actually think the tweet that he put out, when the first thing he said was, "I hate this."
Okay.
I think legitimately that was what he said. So we'll see if he's maybe changed his tune in the last 12 hours.
Yeah, how he feels. Because I love it. I think a lot of people love it, but we'll see what Jake how he feels about it here in 7 minutes.
7 minutes. In the meantime, on the list of our top 5 favorite breakfast foods, as we're going through our top 5 of the day, I gave an honorable mention to bacon, which deserves to be on the list, but it isn't like a standalone. Nobody just has bacon for breakfast, right? Unless you're like Ron Swanson.
Diabetes.
From Parks and Rec. Number 5 was a very harshly met, resisted choice on my list, which was Eggs Benedict, which is not a favorite breakfast food of Brandon Stokely. Spoiler alert.
Holland Das and
yes.
I'm totally out
Days,
on that.
Das, all the same.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me, kind of a flexible option here, breakfast burrito. I like the flexibility that a breakfast burrito has. Sausage, egg, and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese. Throw some potatoes in there, all that kind of stuff. Love me a breakfast burrito, especially on the golf course.
Yeah, that's hard to beat. It certainly is. I mean, you can do so many different things with it. So I got bacon, egg sandwich.
Breakfast
bacon,
sandwich.
Egg sandwich. Yeah,
Like
that's one
that.
of my go-tos. I go to Mio in the Rock there, and bacon, egg sandwich, just do it upright, and they do a great job. Side of sausage, sausage patties.
Oh, like the Jimmy Dean's?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Put
a good
that
one.
on the side, so you got a little bit of sausage, a little bit of bacon, a little bit of egg. There There you go. Tough to beat.
Love it. Tough to beat. Tough to beat. We will see what tops it from both of our list perspective. We will continue getting into the top 3 here in about 20, 30 minutes.
I'm a breakfast guy, too. I love breakfast. So it's, there's when you go on vacation, it's like, okay, I want a good breakfast.
Yeah.
Always want a good
Get that
breakfast.
buffet,
so.
right? You pick like a little bit of everything, get that all-inclusive feel. I'm with you. And I do think it is the reason I liked it, one of the reasons I liked it for this list today is it does feel like you got both sides of the coin. I feel like it's the meal, the move that most people like to skip more than anything. Like you don't see a lot of people skipping dinner, but they'll skip breakfast. They'll have an early lunch. They'll fast. They do the intermittent whatever. But then there's passionate defenders and people who respect breakfast, like you. The second I brought up Eggs Benedict, so I love it. We will see what cracks the top 3. In the meantime, I just want to check in. I just want to ask. As a Wolfpack huddle here, I know I'm like an honorary member today of the Wolfpack, but if I can convene the 4 of us, I would ask the question, do we maybe need to think a little bit differently? Do we apology might be too strong of a word, but were we maybe a little too dismissive of a couple of people here in town today in Ben Tenzer and Jonathan Wallace, the co-executive vice presidents of basketball operations and player personnel for the Nuggets, after what we saw yesterday afternoon?
I not me. I don't owe any apology. That's y'all.
That's y'all.
Yeah, y'all. Y'all look in the mirror. Y'all.
Convene the Wolfpack tie, and in 7 seconds, Brandon Stokely has ejected himself from the huddle.
Well,
and
I'm not just talking
that's
about
a y'all thing.
No, I'm just talking about everyone else at the station. Whoever was, like down and pessimistic and, crying about the moves. I took the stance of I'm just going to be optimistic about it. I'm going to be optimistic about the hirings until they give me a reason to say, terrible move. What are we doing here? I don't know anything about these guys. They might be great. They might be terrible, but I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to be optimistic until you show me I shouldn't be. That was my take on the hiring of those 2 guys. So, and now they make this type of move. I'm like, bam, let's go. Hell yeah. I love what I'm seeing here. Right out the gates from these 2, first big move. I mean, like, wow. Big time move. Look, it's not your birthright, just because you've been on the Nuggets, you were drafted by them 5 years ago, that you're always going to be on the Nuggets. And that just seemed like, oh yeah, we'll just bring it back next year and the year after. No. And I love the fresh approach here. So, no, I'm not apologizing to anyone. That's y'all other people.
Dynasty.
I will. I'll.
You gonna raise your hand?
I'll pull the thumb. I won't point the finger. I'll pull the thumb. I'll
About
raise my
time
hand.
Someone in that seat pulls the thumb.
It is kind of a rare thing,
Thanks a
right?
lot, Mike.
I mean,
Yeah.
Evans talks about pulling the thumb. He just never pulls the thumb.
No.
He just always points
It's
the
always
finger.
good in theory.
Yeah, he says it, but he never does it, which is
He's an idiot and a fool.
Kind of like, okay.
Yeah, immediately, if you just look up the Mike Evans big board of BS, lies, and other nonsense, several of the cards up there are directly related to pointing the finger, not pulling the thumb. Never takes accountability. Repeatedly cheating at trivia.
Throws teammates under the bus. Steals endorsements from his friends. He did.
He did.
Yep.
You are a fraud. You're a disgrace. You're a joke.
That feels aggressive. I will say this, though, as I'm going to pull the thumb. I think I was maybe a little bit too jaded, dismissive, whatever superlative, whatever adjective that you want to describe it as, of Ben Tenzer and Jonathan Wallace before they had a chance to do anything. And my rationale, my logic behind that was actually why ultimately I set the bar for them as low as you could possibly go. All I asked of these 2 in this draft night and free agency period was to not look like Calvin Booth, who the Phoenix Suns exposed to the rest of the NBA world, basically embarrassingly outbid himself to trade up to draft Deron Holmes last offseason. And that was all I wanted. I said, hey, just don't become a viral meme or something on social media the way that Calvin Booth did in his path of destruction. And they completely exceeded that. So as much as we picked apart some of their comments about the margins and we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that, and as much as justifiably going with the co-executive vice president route instead of going to bring in a Bob Myers or a more established GM type of candidate falls in line with some things we don't love about the way Kroenke has handled things. Thus far, on paper, I don't think you could have asked for much more from this new duo who's going to be running things for the Nuggets.
Yeah, just a start, though, to your point. I mean, we're just starting this thing. We'll see how it plays out. But great start. I mean, that's all it is. It's not a victory lap or anything yet, but it's a great start for that duo, and we'll see what the next move or two is going to be. But I'm excited about what it might look like.
I'm excited about it for it, too, and I'm curious how excited our guest on the hotline, Denver sports analyst Jake Shapiro, joins us now. Jake, what was your initial reaction to the blockbuster announcement from Shams Charania that Michael Porter Jr., a member of the core four that this organization has held so dear, is on his way to Brooklyn in exchange for Cam Johnson?
Holy heck, wow. I was stunned, especially coming days after hiring GMs who both say that we're going to work around the margins. This is not margin Porter Jr. This is massive Porter Jr. These are all the thoughts going through my sick brain, Richie, and I got to get to a computer. I was not prepared for this. And then I started thinking about it. And, Cam Johnson's a really, really good player. That's something I've thought about Cam Johnson for a while, going back to his days at the Suns, going back to him at the University of North Carolina, how much Michael Porter Jr. has meant to the Nuggets as a very good contributor, a starter on their only championship team, a guy who has battled what should be a debilitating back injury, maybe career-ending for some players. And the most recent time we've seen him, he was battling through an injury just to stay on the floor and give his guys the best chance. So I thought about Michael Porter Jr., the player, and what he sacrificed to try and even get on the floor for the Nuggets, and one of the best shooters the Nuggets have ever had.
Jake, now moving forward with Cam Johnson, his contract, you're able to do a little bit more, right, in free agency. It frees you up from the luxury tax right now. What do you think is next for the Denver Nuggets? What additions do you think might come next?
Well, big morning, actually, because there have been some additions, but at least not to the roster. This morning, the Nuggets have named J.J. Barea the lead assistant coach for the Denver Nuggets. And then also joining the staff is former University of Denver basketball coach, who we carry on our airwaves here, Rodney Billups. Is joining the staff. Local legend, one of the best players in the University of Denver's history, was on the University of Colorado's staff previously, was on the Portland Trailblazers staff for his brother Chauncey recently, was working as a scout last year. So you've got J.J. Barea, former champion, who will be on David Adelman's staff and had some huge moments, and he's coached the Puerto Rican national team, and then Rodney, who we know locally. So that's what they did, at least on that side of it. But I know that's not what your question is, but I thought I'd add that because I think it is important as David Adelman remakes his coaching staff. So the answer to your question is there's two ways the Nuggets can go about this. Are the Kroenkes going to be willing to spend money? Did they make all of these moves yesterday to dodge the luxury tax and get under that number so that they don't fall into the repeater tax and they don't have to pay a hefty bill next year? And they're obviously going to go into it with Aaron Gordon's extension kicking in, with Christian Brown's extension kicking in, not the 25-26 season, but the 26-27 season. Or are they actually going to use the mechanisms that they freed up yesterday? They could potentially spend up to $14 million on a player instead of $5 million. They could also potentially spend a biannual exception, which is another $5 million mechanism to sign a player. So maybe they can go out and get two players like Al Horford and Gershon Yabusele, or Al Horford and, Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, there are a lot of players out there that are available to the Nuggets today that weren't available to them yesterday morning, that can really add depth to their bench. The only question is, will KSE be willing to go back into the tax, or were these moves made to get under the tax?
Jake Shapiro, our Denver Nuggets analyst here at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, joining us on the hotline. Jake, can you just clarify something for me real quick? Because I'll raise my hand again. I'll pull the thumb and just be honest that the NBA intricacies and complexity when it comes to bird rights and exceptions and the different aprons now with the new CBA, it does tend to kind of make my head spin a little bit. When it comes to the MPJ Cam Johnson trade, they're obviously cutting off a significant salary amount, bringing in Cam and saving off of Michael Porter Jr. Do the salaries there not have to match? I thought that was part of, a lot of NBA trade dealings and negotiations. How do they get around that and find themselves in the advantageous position that they're in now?
Simply yes and no. Yes, they do have to match normally because almost every team during the season is over the salary cap. Most teams operate over the salary cap. The Brooklyn Nets were one of just a handful of teams in the NBA right now with salary cap space. So because the Nets had salary cap space, they could take back as much space that fills up their salary cap, while the Nuggets just had to take a number that matched or was below. So that's how the Nets did it. So basically, the two GMs of the Denver Nuggets on their first week of the job found a way to convince one of the only 5 teams with cap space to dig into their cap space to say Michael Porter Jr. is a better acquisition for your franchise than all of the names out there on the market. That's a pretty impressive feat in itself.
Yeah, no, that was well said, because I was really confused. I just thought it was kind of, concrete. Hey, they got to match the salary. So if a team has some salary cap space, they can use it. So that's good to know. Jake, heard some news about maybe Dario Saric getting bought out and freeing up some more money for the Nuggets. What's the latest on that, and do you think that's going to actually happen?
Yeah, so again, this goes back to what I kind of said about that split. So the mid-level exception that we were talking about was the taxpayer mid-level exception. That's for $5.7 million. That's what they signed Dario Saric to last year. Now they have the full mid-level exception as a under first apron team at $14 million, and they have that $5.5 million biannual exception, a mechanism in which they used to sign Facundo Campazzo a couple years back. All of this is to say is clearing Dario Saric's salary, even if they decide to waive and stretch him, which would put the salary over 2 years instead of 1, similar to what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson. Because it's only $5 million, it'd be like $2.5 million each year. That would get the Nuggets back about $2.5 million this year, even though it's dead money. Well, we all know Dario's dead weight at this point, so $2.5 million might be more valuable to them, even though it's a sunk cost. So if they're able to do that, then all of a sudden, not only do they open up a little bit more money to utilize both those exceptions we talked about, then they open up a roster spot. Because as of right now today, they actually only have 2 open roster spots. So I still think they probably, and you boys might agree with me, they probably still need a backup big. They probably could use a little bit more depth on the wing, whether that's a shooter or a defender. And then I want to kind of see maybe like a veteran steady guard, whether that's, former Colorado Buffalo Spencer Dinwiddie, who played for Rodney Billups, by the way, at CU, or is it DeLon Wright, former University of Utah guard, who played for the Knicks last year?
Last one for me here, Jake. The Michael Porter Jr. trade kicked off the free agency frenzy to begin things yesterday afternoon for the Nuggets. But there was another move that came shortly after that. Bruce Brown, Cowboy Bruce, Brucey B is back. He signs on a vet minimum deal, which I think just adds to, the flexibility that the Nuggets are now finding themselves in and the things that they can do with these upcoming moves. What should we expect in terms of a role and an impact standpoint from Bruce Brown heading into this season, and how will it compare to what we saw from him in the title year?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Richie, because with Cam Johnson, he's obviously a starting caliber player, and Bruce maybe can operate as their 6th starter again like he did during the championship year. But I think the important thing to note with both of these guys is Cam Johnson's out here telling reporters last night he's excited to be a Denver Nugget. Bruce Brown, we know, is excited to be a Denver Nugget because he took a minimum contract. Guys can take a minimum contract to go play anywhere. So maybe in Brown's head, he gets back to a place he loves. We all love Bruce. And maybe he plays one more year here, and then he goes back out in the market and he gets another big contract. I'm not sure. But the big thing is you've got two guys that are excited to be Denver Nuggets back on the team. And that's not saying anything about Michael Porter Jr., who was excited to be a Denver Nugget. But there are some guys who've come in the last couple of years who maybe haven't been as excited to be Denver Nuggets. So that's the most important thing, because they're in a time of transition in their locker room with the changes in the coaching staff. So I think that's really important to think about, the culture behind the scenes. Secondarily, the role. Well, if the Nuggets utilize those mechanisms to bring in Al Horford or, Tim Hardaway or Gershon Yabusele, we're talking about Bruce Brown as maybe not the sixth man. Maybe Julian Strasser and Peyton Watson can even step up. There's a situation here where Bruce Brown's the seventh or eighth best player for the Denver Nuggets last year. And we saw what happened when Bruce Brown was the sixth best player for the Denver Nuggets. This completely remakes their depth, which was their stated goal going into the offseason. It was Nikola Jokic's demand at the end of the season, and it's a way that they would be able to match up with the Oklahoma City Thunder, not only in the playoffs, but through the 82 games in the regular season. And this comes at a time where the Houston Rockets have gone up a level over the offseason. So the odds makers, I thought it was fascinating that the Nuggets rose to the second-best title odds yesterday after these moves, because we all know what Bruce Brown did for the Denver Nuggets. And I think it's really important to remember, he's had a rough 2 years, but he had a really good start in Indiana, and he signed up to play for a team that wound up going to 2 straight Eastern Conference championships, and that's who he thought he was playing for, right? Okay, and then he gets traded in the middle of the season, and he's a guy that we know plays with a lot of ruggedness, a lot of grit. He's playing for 2 lifeless franchises that were going nowhere. Pretty easy to check out. So the last time Bruce Brown played a playoff game was Game 5 of the NBA Finals. We saw what happened.
Yeah, he'll be better here, certainly, Jake. Jake, looking at DeAndre Jordan, what are your thoughts there? Any chance that you bring him back? I mean, they never play the guy. I mean, when they do play him, he plays well, but they don't ever put him on the court. We're talking about backup centers. What do you think's going on with DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, I think, again, this is a guy that could be pretty big for their locker room next year. He has been in the past. He's their union rep. He's their elder statesman. DeAndre is a guy that's really good for your roster because, as you said, Stoke, it's important to have those guys that can play 20 minutes and not have or 20 games and not have the expectation that they need to go out and get on the floor every night. They don't have an ego about that. I'd like to see DeAndre Jordan play more myself even. But the Nuggets need to clear a roster spot most likely before they bring DeAndre back, because I think their needs and their wants are a little bit more important. They need to go find, the sixth man off the bench and maybe the eighth man on their roster before they worry about DJ, who's probably the 12th or 13th man on their roster. So they only have 2 roster spots open. The backup big maybe isn't as needed right now as people think, because Deron Holmes is going to come back healthy, and we heard that Adelman, Tenzer, and Wallace all believe he can play both the 4 and the 5. So I'd like to see DJ back. I think he's a valuable third big man to have, but I think the Nuggets got to figure out who their second big man is first and their sixth man off the bench.
I love it. Jake Shapiro, our Denver Nuggets, and really all-around general analyst for Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Jake, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate you getting up a little early after what I'm sure was a busy night of research and writing and everything that you've got cranking out at denversports.com. We'll check in again soon. Thanks, Jake. Bruce Brown is back. Jake Shapiro on the hotline, giving us the latest on the flurry of Nuggets moves that took place yesterday afternoon. I was pleased to hear, Stoke, that Al Horford, who I brought up at the beginning of the show, and then there was kind of a, more and more people were pointing out that he's heavily linked to the Golden State Warriors and he's probably off the table and all that. If Jake Shapiro is still telling me that Al Horford, a guy like that, to be a backup 5 is an option, I'm excited about it. And they may end up, going with a DeAndre Jordan, or maybe just saying Deron Holmes is going to be that guy for us. But I do think that's the one thing that the Nuggets have just not been able to answer in the Jokic era, is somebody that can play for him so he gets some minutes on the bench.
Yeah, give him some rest. And, DeAndre Jordan's fine, but they don't ever play him, consistently. So that's not a true option. So is it Holmes or is it not? And if it's not, then you got to go out there and find that guy, because Jokic, not only during the playoffs but during the regular season, you got to give him more rest, and you got to be able to have a guy, though, that you can trust that you're going to put in there and that's going to do a good job.
we got some more breaking NBA news that I suppose has a direct impact on the immediate future of the Denver Nuggets. And I will ask Brandon Stokely and shades off Ty Fuji. He took him off. I didn't even look over before saying that. Whether or not we might need to put some more respect on another member of our Denver sports community. That's next.
He's back. After 2 seasons away, Bruce Brown is returning to the Mile High City. Will Cowboy Bruce bring the same swagger, toughness, and clutch shooting that helped the Nuggets win their first ever title? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, your boy Stink here to tell you about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now's the time to sell it. Still get top dollar. Believe it or not, Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it? If he can't sell your house at the price you agree upon, plus the timeline you agree upon, he's going to cut you a check for $5,000. Nobody else makes that offer. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now as we speak. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. So you have a house to sell. Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to dial him up at 720-900-4433. Call Troy. Get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433. 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of Remax Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then pick up the phone and dial up my buddy Troy. 720-900-4433.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900. That's 720-440-7900. Or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stop, opt out. Terms and conditions apply to the earnings promotion.
Do you have caregiving experience as a parent, teacher, nanny, coach, or in another similar role? Hop Skip Drive is looking for experienced caregivers who want to help students in their community by driving them to and from school. Earn up to $50 per ride with Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion, all while helping your community. If you have your own vehicle that is no more than 10 years old, a clean driving record, and at least 5 years of caregiving experience, you could become a Hop Skip Drive care driver. Just text STUDENT to 323232 to get started right now. Hop Skip Drive gives you the flexibility to set your own schedule and earn competitive pay. It's simple. Drive in your free time and make a real difference for students right in your neighborhood. Don't wait. Text STUDENT to 323232 right now. Text STUDENT to 323232 and start earning up to $50 per ride during Hop Skip Drive's welcome promotion period. That's STUDENT to 323232. Text STUDENT to 323232 now.
Delusional confidence.
I'm tougher than Mark.
Strong detective work.
Something was way off with him, like some kind of bad gummy bear or something. I don't know. It was just
Gummy bear. And personal hygiene.
Holy Moses. Guy's excited about showering.
It's Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Rolling along on a Tuesday morning, Richie Carney sitting in for Mike Evans alongside Brandon Stokely. And we got some breaking news in the world of the NBA, something that I imagine is going to happen a handful more times over the course of the day. And it does impact the Nuggets. It is not a Nuggets acquisition, but it is a big move for someone that stands in their way. And that's the reigning champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, who signed their star point guard, MVP and Finals MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to a 4-year, $285 million Supermax extension through 2030-2031.
wow. What is that?
$71 million per year.
I mean, these Supermax ones, you know, when you hit those different levels,
triggers.
Yep. All of a sudden, you know, you're looking at $70+ million a year. Unbelievable.
This is ridiculous.
Obviously, reigning MVP, won an NBA championship, Finals MVP, all of that. I mean, I guess if anyone deserves it, he deserves it. So he had a great year, unbelievable year, and so. But these contracts are insane.
I mean, we talked about this with Shohei and baseball. I mean, we're on the doorstep in the not-so-distant future of NBA players, an NBA player, the first one to do it, who knows, maybe Victor Wembanyama, making $100 million in a season. I mean, it's kind of unfathomable to a certain degree when you think about the scope of it. And you're right. I mean, SGA joins a short list of players in NBA history who have won MVP, Finals MVP, and the scoring title in the same season. And when you're Sam Presti, the decision maker, the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you've constructed this team perfectly to be a part of the new CBA, where you have all this young emerging talent that's cheap, you can afford to pay SGA an insane amount of money like that on a Supermax extension, and you should. You can afford to bring back a guy like Jalen Williams, who was a key contributor there for you. And so the Oklahoma City Thunder, despite putting all this money into SGA and Jalen Williams and all that, I don't anticipate them struggling financially in the near future, and I would expect them to continue to be the team that the rest of the West, including the Nuggets, are looking up at.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of draft picks also, right? You got draft capital, so you can replenish some of your other guys. As long as you got the core group and you're able to put some younger, cheaper talent around them, you're usually in a good position, and OKC has set themselves up for the possibility of a nice little run here because of, you know, the draft capital that they have and then also the young talent that they have. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works for them and what it looks like moving forward. But certainly for the Nuggets, that's a team that you look at and say, all right, they're going to be a problem for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
I pulled the thumb instead of pointing the finger. I'm trying to make an emphasis of that while I'm sitting in this chair where Mike Evans normally sits. And I think that was true of something that I needed to do when it came to the initial evaluation of guys like Ben Tenzer and John Wallace, the new co-executive vice presidents of basketball operations and of player personnel for the Nuggets, the two people who were replacing the one person that was the GM in Calvin Booth. I think fairly so at the time, at least, when you look at the history of Kroenke's moves and the way that they handle their front offices. They go the cheaper route. They go the lesser experienced route. They don't typically shell out for that kind of thing. And I was framing it under the lens of everything in the Jokic prime window is of maximum importance to me. Doing everything you possibly can to win as much as you can while Jokic is here and in his prime is the most important. And I didn't know when you run it through that lens that hiring those two was the right move. But given the moves that they made, trading Michael Porter Jr., bringing back Bruce Brown, opening up all this financial flexibility, I'm just going to pull the thumb and say this. If I thought about it for maybe 4 or 5 more minutes, I think I would have come to a different conclusion.
That's 2 days in a row you nailed it.
I am going to pull the thumb. I'm going to smear campaign dunk on myself and just say that in honor of the Zach By Sensitivity Smear Campaign Day number 238, I probably just needed to sit on that one a little bit more before reacting.
Yep. Well done. Well played. And, I think with anything else, talking about when you're doing something really for the first time and at the level that you're doing it at, hey, let's see how it plays out. Let's see what moves you make, and then we'll judge you off of those. So I was optimistic that they would be a good partnership and that they would look at this thing a little bit differently and not do the same old that we've seen the last 3 years, because it hasn't worked. And now you're in different uncharted waters with this new CBA, and it's different than what it was 4 or 5 years ago. And so how are you going to navigate those waters? And what we've been doing the last couple of years didn't work, and it's probably not going to get better moving forward. So you need to have a fresh approach, a new approach, a different approach, and different outlook. And boom, there it was yesterday. Love the move. Gives them a lot more financial flexibility here moving forward. Plus, I think a better piece that's going to fit with this group than Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Johnson. And then you're able to bring in Bruce Brown on a minimum contract, so he adds depth. And whether he's the 6th guy, 7th guy, 8th guy, whatever the case may be, he's going to be a nice addition coming off the bench.
Boy, if you're telling me Bruce Brown, who was kind of a 6th man off the bench during the year they won their only NBA title, and comes back on a vet minimum deal and seems like kind of on paper just to fill that void that they tried to fill with Russell Westbrook. If you're telling me that he's not going to have to do that and that's going to come at the expense of other players or continued development, and instead Bruce Brown's going to be your 7th, 8th, back end of your playoff rotation option off the bench, this Nuggets team is primed to make a deep run if that's the case.
Well, I think, when you say that, I mean, what does that really mean?
The difference between like 7 and 8 on your rotation, you saying?
Right. Sometimes they come in the game at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not like, just because we say 7th or 8th, now all of a sudden you have to play 15 less minutes than the 6th guy, or 5 less minutes than the 6th guy. I think and usually it's different positions. So Bruce Brown will come in when he comes in, usually to be the backup point guard. Right, Strother would be the number 2, number 3, or whatever the case may be. So I think when it comes to just different options, it's a big boost, and he's going to play the game the right way. He's going to do the right things, and he's going to provide you something. I think a little bit more consistency than we saw from Russ Westbrook. They're coming off the bench, being that backup point guard. So I'm excited about that move. But, man, I am fired up about Cam Johnson. I can't wait to watch how he fits with this offense around Jokic. And then to Jake, what he mentioned, I mean, it would be nice to find and I think Strother could be this guy, but we'll see just a knockdown shooter coming off the bench. A knockdown shooter coming off the bench, because Cam Johnson can shoot it, and he can create his own shot, and he can go to the rim, which Michael Porter Jr. couldn't ever do. So I'm excited about that. Now we need to find a true shooter coming off the bench.
Yeah, I think there's an element when you look at Michael Porter Jr. compared to Cam Johnson from a box score perspective that they look very similar. And I think you can trick yourself into thinking, they're the same guy. It's going to be the same thing. I disagree. I think he's much more adept at creating his own shot. He's better with the ball in his hands instead of just being a spot-up shooter from a dribble perspective and a fluid offensive movement perspective. And I think he gives you more on the defensive end of the court as well, where Michael Porter Jr., despite having a 6'10"-ish frame and beefing up a little bit, just never seemed to consistently be the presence that you would hope for someone in that slot.
He can't be worse defensively. It's just impossible. So there you go.
If I was to make a way too early prediction for Cam Johnson's tenure with the Nuggets, it would be that you, Brandon Stokely, don't ever accuse him of potentially taking a bad gummy bear in a critical gotta-have-it situation.
Exactly. Like you look like you're sleepwalking out there. So that's what Michael Porter Jr. did during the playoffs. And I like, you just can't win consistently like that. And they had their run. It's over. And now it's time for something new, something fresh. And I love that move. I love that they're being aggressive here. And they're not talking themselves into and fooling themselves like, let's just give it one more year. And maybe it'll be different. It wasn't going to be different. Wasn't different last year. Wasn't different the year before. So I love the fact that they're trying to change this up a little bit and get a little bit more out of this and going for it here. So it's got me fired up. And now I just can't wait to see how Cam Johnson, how he fits into the into that lineup, into that starting five around Jokic.
The RamosLaw.com text line always delivers, 303-713-1043. We were asking for potential jersey sponsor suggestions to see if we can't get the Rockies off the list of teams that don't have their jersey sponsored. They're in the minority in that category. Stoke, how do you feel about Charmin toilet paper? Because they're soft and crappy.
Wow.
Tylenol and or Alka-Seltzer. When this baseball gives you headaches and heartburn, turn to Tylenol and Alka-Seltzer to help. That is pretty good.
Some good ones.
That is pretty good. The Rockies sponsored by Enron, equally collapsing.
Oh, Enron. I forgot about Enron.
That's a deeper pull.
Yeah.
That's a deeper pull, which I respect. Olinger Mortuary.
Okay.
Headed to the grave, I guess. We will continue looking through the different responses.
There's a lot of possibilities.
Fantastic possibilities that I would not have thought of. The Pooper Scooper, Tampax, all valuable options that I think Dick Monfort, as his main goal there is to make some money over there at 20th and Blake, could look into. We will continue our list of our top 5 favorite breakfast foods, our daily list of the day, and answer the question with 2 members of championship corps here in Denver now gone. Which team is best equipped to try to repeat without them? That's next.
Will the Broncos be in the wild card race again this season?
I think you're going to look at the Chargers. I think you're going to look at Pittsburgh. Got to put Cincy in there also.
The lesson that we've learned here is that out of the wild card contenders, and there'll be 3 of them, I really like the Broncos positioning as being one of the top teams in that pool.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Change is always happening. Hey, it's part of life, and when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that'll stay the same: the price of your internet. Xfinity is introducing the 5-year price guarantee. It means you'll get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024.
What's the biggest mistake you could make when selling your home? Settling for less money. Not with Orchard. Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. Then they sell your old home on the market for top dollar. One customer said, "I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier." Don't settle for less. Buy before you sell. And get top dollar with Orchard. Get your free home valuation at Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Jordan Davis on Saturday, July 19th at Cheyenne Frontier Days.
Do what you love, but call it work and throw a little money.
It's a summer night in Cheyenne you'll never forget. Plus, special guest Brett Young.
Baby, I'm crazy about you.
Tickets are on sale now at CFDrodeo.com.
We love to celebrate the 4th of July with family, friends, food, and fireworks. Please be safe this Independence Day weekend and don't drink and drive. From your friends at Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and the Willhight Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
For over a century, Pella Windows has delivered energy-efficient innovation, keeping your home cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter. Visit Pella's Denver showroom for a free estimate and special anniversary savings. Call 877-67-PELLA or visit PellaofDenver.com. Love the Pella difference.
Sponsored by Johnson & Johnson and Bristol-Myers Squibb. Stroke is a leading cause of death and disability worldwide, with over 12.2 million strokes occurring each year and 795,000 taking place in the U.S. alone. Dr. Clay Johnston, Chief Medical Officer and co-founder of Harbor Health.
The signs of stroke can be subtle and hard to recognize, so educating yourself and others is key to responding quickly. An easy way to remember is with the acronym FAST. This stands for face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911. The sudden onset of any of these symptoms could mean that someone is having a stroke.
A stroke can affect anyone at any time, so recognizing these symptoms quickly can make a difference, especially when it comes to getting the proper care.
Seeking medical attention at the first sign of stroke symptoms can significantly reduce long-term disability and enhance recovery. It can also increase eligibility for clinical trials, potentially leading to additional treatment options.
For more information on the signs and symptoms of stroke, visit stroke.org.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 to start. Visit our TRT experts at Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized for your body, and most major health insurance is accepted. With the freedom to choose if you want an in-center care or at-home treatment, you're in control of your health. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment. Offer limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors.